just kind of get everything started before we do anything. I'm also going to go on to my schedule and announce that we are starting.
I'm also going to tweet out that we're doing it.
Where did I put the sheet? There.
Look at you using the Twitters.
My macros. Exit program. Oh, good. This thing finished saving.
I'm just gonna say, guys. Now that everybody's here, I had a very special day today.
Yeah.
I finished the stream of a game that was way better than it had any right to be.
I don't fucking. Why do you want me to play it?
Just go play it, man. You're fine.
I will, because I'm really curious now, but I'm also tiny bit frightened of this. You're really building up the expectations, Deco.
Don't even worry about it, man. It's just a cutesy game. Don't worry about it. Hey, High Swing Zero, how are you doing, man?
I was like, why do I have 26 notifications?
26 notifications?
On Twitter, it's because Lindsay Jones tweeted out about the Sting video again, and she fucking was all like, huge shout out to Expo Monkey X for making this art, and I'm like, Lindsay, stop!
Oh no.
Shut up, Izzy! How dare you?
Yes, how could I say such slander?
Such slander.
Such horrible things.
Horrible things you're saying.
Give me a sec to reprogram in my macros, and then I will be good to go. And I hope someone dies today.
Yo, right, Sam?
Kinda, yeah.
I mean, Mr. Bodie already died, guys.
You know what we mean.
You know what we mean.
Last game did not go nearly like I thought it would.
And that's the best part.
It was the best part. I knew that things were gonna have more of a kind of comedic atmosphere to it, and then all of you showed up, and I'm like, yep.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
They brought it up. Every time someone mentions that, I'm like, I feel like he knew what he was getting into.
I knew what I was getting into. It just, how can I say it? I knew what I was getting into. It just happened so much more than I. I think I underestimated you guys.
Ha!
Yeah, probably.
I think it's like I knew it was gonna happen, but I underestimated how much it was gonna happen. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Levy just said, "Welcome to Horror Resort. The pterodactyl killed the soup."
Yes, it did. You know that it did.
All right, my macros are set. I've got my sheet. I've got my paintball handgun and cube of illegal substances.
Your cube of illegal substances.
Yeah. I know, it's confusing.
Oh, no, wait. No, we plugged your microphone back into your thing.
So I would unmute myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we echoing?
Yes, you are.
Okay, then I need to stay muted then.
I just need to turn myself down.
So I feel like the next death will probably be from choking on food. I'm sure of that.
Hey, you want to go eat? You want to go eat some munchies, man?
Hell yeah.
Just a chicken bone kills you, and everybody runs in like, what happened? The butler killed him.
Of course.
Of course, the butler. Oh, we're just gonna wait in here for just a minute, everybody who is here. We're gonna wait here and see. Just kind of let a few more people jump in before anything. We started a little bit late, so some people may end up being in bed. Who knows? We'll probably try to end things off around the time we did last time, although that's gonna cut us down a little bit on time. So if we do end up going a little bit beyond where we cut off last time, everybody, including people in the chat right now, I am very sorry. We're a little bit late though, so I'm talking. But the three of you, it's only 8 for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully you guys won't mind us going to 10, 11.
But it is
fine. I'd like to get some more work done tonight, but I'm also not going to be so we need to end by this time.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'll do my best, but we are starting 50 something minutes late.
Well, we suck.
No,
I mean,
don't worry
worst-
about it. It's not a problem. Again, I'll try to end things, you know, at a good enough time, because I know that me and Emerald, it'll be like 1 or 2 by the time we end. So
Oh Jesus.
Totally fine with me.
it's fine with
Actually,
Emerald. It's
do
fine with me
something.
too. I want to have people check out the intricacies of the great story that I have created for all of you. The wondrous tale that will progress through the ages. The tale of pterodactyl and soup.
Yes.
Yes, yes, of course.
And now the main course. Blazing Azure Co has become a sponsor. Was a sponsor.
I'm now paying you.
Oh, I mean, you were already kind of doing that.
I'm now giving you $5 a month on YouTube.
Oh, dude, that means that I can
Yay.
get the freaking I can put the things up now.
Sure.
Yay.
What are they called? The freaking
Badges?
yeah, I can put badges up or whatever. That's cool. You also can see Logan. You have a little icon next to your name in my chat now.
Cool.
It's a little orb with the game controller in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
But yeah, because you do good work, and I feel like you should get more back for it.
Aw, you put that in tweet form. I'm
Up
putting
your game, rest of Deco's friends.
But yeah,
moderate
dude,
for
thank you very much, man.
No problem.
I now have 2 people sponsoring me on the YouTubes. Awesome. Tolman says YouTube chats for nerds.
Oh, shit.
Then they're like, unfortunately, so is Twitch chat.
I don't even know how. Wait. I'm wondering how
Joker,
you do
look.
this.
We have
Sponsor.
more money.
There
Oh.
it is. There's a big old sponsor button.
Izuki, thank you very much for donating the $5 as well. You have a very nice thing. Swiggity swoopy, pterodactyls are Snoopy. Here's to the spoops. No, pterodactyls are
Yes.
spoopy. Here's to the spoops.
What's your Twitch thing?
My Twitch thing. What do you mean?
What's your Twitch name? I can't remember.
Oh, it's Summoners Network.
Oh, it's the same thing there too. Okay.
Yeah. Luckily I made my Twitch account after my YouTube account, so I can just be like, hey, it's free. My YouTube account actually, I think, still has my old YouTube name in it, because back before I tried to sell my freaking YouTube account as oh, it's Summoners Network, before it was just Summoner Blue. So
Now, how do I do this? Where's the?
how does the East Coast deal with lack of sleep with their subpar coffee? Dude, I don't even drink coffee. I'm pretty sure that I'm not allowed.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that I'm not allowed to drink coffee. I tried drinking coffee once, and first off, it was disgusting.
That's fair.
But
I
second
agree.
off, I didn't even want coffee. I asked for freaking hot cocoa, and Dunkin's gave me coffee, and I'm like,
Son of a bitch.
you pieces of shit.
How do you subscribe on Twitch?
I might not have enough followers to subscribe, or whatever.
Oh.
I might not have enough people following me or whatever on Twitch for having a subscribe button or whatever. Izuki eats Skittles. There you go, man. I only just now got the ability to subscribe on YouTube because I passed 1,000 in July for my birthday stream, so that was really cool. And now I'm at 1,200, so I only got the ability to have subscriptions on YouTube very recently. Just as they added the feature, it's you can only have it if you have over 1,000 subs, and it's haha, that's me now. Haha,
Like a dick.
just in time. Easy key, you need to calm down, man. Don't eat that many Skittles. Coffee is gross, hot cocoa is far superior, blue's absolutely in the right there. Thank you, I know I'm in the right there.
That's true.
Technically, it was a mocha coffee. So I can kind of understand why they made the mistake, but still I didn't ask for your shitty coffee. I drank it because
I got
I
that.
didn't notice until we had left. And we were like waiting outside of like a storage place to like wait for it to open up. So like we couldn't just turn around and be like, hey, you gave me the wrong order. Draco Dragneo knows too much. He is now subscribed and or following me. Thank you very much. But yeah, like it was gross. I drank it all down. The last bit of it was the worst. And I was up for like 48 hours. So I'm not sure if I should drink coffee.
Jesus.
It does bad things to me.
Horrifying. You're
both wrong. Coffee is the lord of drinks. Screw you, Levy.
Red Bull is the lord of drinks.
What about you guys? How, do you guys like your coffee?
No.
That's fair.
Do you guys like your coffee?
No, dude, I fucking hate coffee.
I never really. I like coffee flavored stuff, but not coffee.
Like ice cream or something?
Yeah.
I don't even like that.
Coffee crisp.
What about you, Emerald?
I don't drink coffee.
There you go. See, we know what's up.
See, everyone here is the pinnacle of man.
I haven't tried Red Bull yet.
Red Bull's pretty good. It gives you wings.
No.
You would know, Lorenzo.
Oh my god. Izzy, why did you roll for a random NPC?
I want to see what would happen if I clicked it.
Wait,
That's
what?
Some fucking details.
Yeah.
What? What did you do?
Harrer. Look, it just says fucking roles generic NPC. Name, Harrer, Sankt Altfern, occupation, jeweler, hometown. It's got a whole bunch of shit.
Wait, what?
Psychology, always thinks about thinking. Age 66.
Where are you
short
seeing
black
this?
Hair. Dude, in the fucking roll thing.
Yeah.
In the roll
It's in
room.
the chat.
I'm not seeing it in there.
I don't see it. It must be per person.
Yeah, it
I'm
might just be
this.
you guys that see it.
I'm copy pasting this.
Oh, there
in
it
the
is.
Fucking chat.
Yeah. It's right there.
You're there.
Terrell Alliston, politician, hometown, Dillungodding.
Oh my god. Social ties, lover, bad childhood murdered.
Bad childhood murdered? What? He's not a child murderer, he's a childhood murderer.
Childhood got murdered.
Childhood murderer.
You don't mess with the hood, man.
I think those are supposed to be descriptors of their lover.
Okay.
I think.
Or bad childhood in there twice.
I like our thoughts on it better.
Sister, cultist, frail, plotting against me. Wow.
Okay.
I don't want to make all my NPCs
I was
this
gonna
way.
say, holy shit. Dude, I want to make our playable characters this way. That's fucking
You're
great.
welcome.
Wow.
I didn't even know the site could do that.
Commit to whatever ridiculous.
Yeah.
Betrayed by a close friend at 51.
Jesus.
Change occupations at 60.
But also had an adventure at 51. Which
It's
probably
so
involved the
vague.
friend betraying him at 51.
Dude, they went into a freaking cavern and like the treasure was right there, and then like he's like, look at the treasure, my friend. I can't wait to. He looks beside of him, his friend's not there anymore. He looks to the treasure's not there anymore. He looks back to beside him, his friend's there. You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a...
Son of a bitch.
I love it.
You have the jewel on you, and it's like, what are you going to do about it, my friend?
It's too bad the chat
You were
can't
always
see all
too
this
weak
glory.
to take what was yours.
Oh my
You're right. I was.
I'm but a politician.
I'm but a politician. I am too weak to take what is mine. I am but a politician.
So everyone, we had a pretty good time last week, and I would like to say that I think we all grew as people, both in game and out of game, with what happened last time. In fact, when last we left our intrepid heroes, all of you had woken up on a day just after the storm began to break up on the mountain. Looking outside the windows and the doors, a light flurry was still happening, but not nearly as bad as the storm had been over the weekend. you were able to actually, you know, go outside and nothing was like pushing on the windows to break them, and there was no noises, there's no squeaking, there's everything. It seemed like things were going good until you all realized that the lights were out. Most of the entire place was completely dark. When you came downstairs, two of you saw a trail of soup.
Yes, we did.
Leading outside.
Yeah, we totally did. We saw soup. Like God.
You followed the trail of soup until it led to this mass of soup, which we then learned to be lipstick.
Excuse you, it was nail polish, okay?
Whatever, nail polish. My bad, you're right.
Get your fucking story straight.
You're right, my bad.
His blood.
My blood. My blood.
My bad.
You broke Logan.
What? That was Deco.
That was me.
No, dude, no, I said you broke Logan because you just kind of laughed and trailed off in your sentence. Like,
upon returning, you met with your friends. At which point, the only one among you that doesn't have negative wits decided to go out and look as well. As Izzy, you learned of that's not nail polish. That's not even soup. That's blood.
It's not even soup.
Really now.
You lifted the arm of the person. You realized that this was in fact a person. You brought the chill dude, Rad Chad outside, and he recognized this person to be Mr. Bodie, a person that he got the illegal substances off of over the weekend. As all of you were preparing to figure out what's going on, you showed the body to the butler. The butler told you to go and find a police officer that was around. You went upstairs, you found a sickly man inside of his room, and he's like, oh, I really need the lights on, I really need electricity because it's really cold and I'm sick, and blah. If you guys could find some soup, that'd be great too. But other than that, you did find the officer. As you brought her down, everybody looked over the body. And in true officer fashion, of course, you completely destroyed the crime scene and brought the body inside.
Yeah, dude.
You brought the body inside the main room of the ski lodge you're in. Did I mention this is a skiing trip? Either way.
Okay.
As you guys had brought them inside of here, upstairs, we had good old Ben going through trying to find clues, going through people's rooms, finding a gun that was actually a paintball gun, gunning down the first person he saw with said gun, who turns out to be Mr. Bodie's wife. Bringing her down, you guys decided, hey, you know what would be the greatest idea we could ever have? Let's handcuff her, put her beside the body, and see how she reacts when she wakes up.
Makes sense.
Flawless.
Foolproof plan.
Somewhere along the way, the lights got fixed. Good job, Izzy. You're literally the only person pushing the plot forward.
Hey, I'm searching for things.
I'm the munchies, bro.
I broke a button with a window with a paintball gun, and I got a paintball gun. That's plot.
You're pushing your character forward. That's for sure. I just love how it's just like you shot the paintball and you got a fucking one. It broke a window and she was still terrified of you because you're a freaking amazing intimidation roll afterwards.
I mean, it's a fucking maniac, clearly.
And you were just telling her, it's just like, your husband has met with an unfortunate accident.
Oh my god.
And maybe you will too.
Come with me,
No
you'll
way
be
that
safe.
could be true.
So, by my calculations, according to my notes, there's 2 people we haven't met, right?
There are 2 people still in this lodge you haven't met. But as this woman finally did wake up and see her loving husband laying on the floor, the young wife of Mr. Bodie was shocked and surprised and thrilled. She began laughing hysterically, which is where we left things off, with a good echoing through the halls.
Okay.
Oh my god.
If I may, I'd like to throw off the blanket that I'm currently hiding under close to her, point the gun at her again, and boldly shout, "So it was you that did the killing!"
You throw off your blanket. You call out to the woman. She exclaims. She knows that voice. That's as she just looks at you, her eyes wide, her arms like handcuffed behind her back, looking up at the barrel of a gun, her laughing face stuck, and then her face slowly turns to that of horror.
You got some explaining to do, lady. I happen to know for a fact that you and your husband were not... Are you a husband, or are you just, like, together? Or...
What's your relationship situation?
What was it?
The other two in the room and the officer comes out from their hiding spot as well, pulling out her taser, looking over at the gun like, hey, wait a minute.
FYI, officer, I've got your gun.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about it.
What about the other two? Do you guys want to come out?
Fine.
Stacy?
Sure.
This is such a
Yeah,
shit show.
sure. Jesus.
The four of you come out from your hiding spots, two of you pointing weapons down at Mrs. Bodie. As she's just looking up, you guys hear, like, the ringing and the static coming from the taser. Like, it's audible.
Your laugh tells us all we need to know. Clearly, you're the one that put an end to your lover's life to escape from his abusive relationship.
Nailed it.
I'm gonna throw the book at
We
you.
might need more to go on that.
Are we?
I forgot
There's
that
a
you
murder.
talked like that.
No, he's right. Hey.
Well,
How do you forget that voice?
I don't know. She's just like staring up at you guys, mouth agape, as all of you are talking down at her, and she just starts like hurriedly shaking her head like, no, that's not it, no.
That sounds like what a murderer would say. You should arrest her.
that sounds exactly like what a murderer would say.
Mm-hmm.
She just is like shaking her head, looking at you first off again, just horrified, Ben. Because it's just like, it's that crazy guy that said he killed my husband, and then he's blaming it on me.
I didn't say that. You're a fool. Shut your mouth.
I can imagine how she got that impression.
Oh my god.
Does anybody else have any leads that might lead us to the killer of our dear departed Bodhi?
It was her. Okay, come on.
Obviously, if she was not the killer, she wouldn't be so happy to see her husband dead.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. It
Right.
all holds together.
I
We
mean,
did it.
she-
We
Ooh,
solved
holding
the
together
mystery.
the popsicle stick
I
of
mean,
a
she
grade
might have
school
just hated
popsicle stick
him.
bridge competition bridge.
Shut up.
You just tell Ruth to shut up.
God damn it.
No, you see, I've not even been out of my room in the past day.
How do you know he was murdered in the past day? You could have done it before then.
Because he was not like this last night.
You were out of your room. Whenever I was searching through Mr. Bodie's room, you were spying on me through the doorway.
Well, yes. You were in my husband's room.
A fact that you would not have known if you had been in your room.
I came out.
So you just lied to us because you're a liar. You know what?
She looks
Lies
back over at you guys.
murderers.
You just see like the face, just like the circles that are just completely white with like the two little like teardrops eyes.
Oh no.
She's just like, I don't know what to say.
Just admit that you murdered him.
You know, that sounds like You just lied. You know who else lies? Murderers. You know what else murderers do? Murder.
Somebody get me a book to throw at her.
We did.
Someone get this lady a book.
I like
Throw it at
grab a book off of a table like a pamphlet and hand it to her.
You hand her a pamphlet. She chucks the pamphlet at her. It hits her on the back of the head, but it's a pamphlet, so it doesn't hurt her.
Damn.
Better roll for throwing strength.
All right.
What? What are you doing? Oh,
Well-
throwing strength. I was like, what? I thought you were gonna fucking hit her.
Well, if she won't admit to it, we'll just have to wait until we're rescued and let the authorities deal with her properly.
Well, then what
We
do
keep-
we do with her, though? What if she murders one of us?
If we keep her tied up, she won't be able to hurt anybody else.
I have a
That's
spare
my
pair of
bitch.
handcuffs. That's never mind.
Oh.
It's like
Okay.
we should
Hey,
perhaps
man.
not let the others see those ones.
Jesus.
We can tie up her legs with not handcuffs.
Yeah.
Cha, dude.
Shut.
You're in the kitchen.
I stop aiming the gun at her.
It occurs to me now that in your tied-up state, there's no need to hold you at gunpoint.
Really?
No, I think we still should.
Oh,
She's dangerous.
pineapple
She's better.
pineapple doctor. Thank you very much for the $10. Love the horror streams. Thank you very much.
Aww. Jesus.
I have nothing more to say on this subject.
She's just like sitting there, like her head's down, like it toward the floor. She looks over at her husband's body, and she kind of, again, she looks over at it. She's surprised, but even with everything going on around all of you, oh crap, Levy, you're right. My goal was met. Holy shit!
What?
What was your goal? What was your goal for?
I had a this month I had a $150 donation goal for getting myself a new Elgato Game Capture HD60 because
nice.
mine was stolen from me, and we just met it. So woo!
Yay!
Nice.
Yay!
Yay!
I don't know what I would do if mine broke.
God. Let's not talk about it. Let's not
This
talk
is
about it.
technically going to be an upgrade for me because I only had a Game Capture HD before. So this is technically going to be an upgrade from the one that got stolen from me. So it's going to be awesome. Thank you guys very much for helping me get to this goal.
Woohoo!
I also, of course, like put in like, you know, it's pretty much everything I've made over the past like month. So like, of course, other streams have been far more influential than some, but you know,
Oh.
but yes. Thank you all very much for helping me get past this goal. Anything else we get beyond this goal for the rest of the month, I'm gonna put toward getting something else for the channel. So do not worry, I'm not just gonna take the $5 extra here and spend it on drugs and illegal substances. Don't worry.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
But what if the drugs and illegal substances are for the channel?
You're right. I need to go and do some research.
Buy illegal substance.
Perhaps
I
we
need
should
them.
gather
I need
all
my
the
illegal
remaining
substances
people.
in cube form.
Perhaps
Yeah.
we should gather the remaining people that are within the lodge and let them know what happened.
Yeah, like who else is even here?
I completely agree. I can watch over Mrs. Bodie.
Good. I think the safest thing to do would be gather together everybody.
She motions to you, Ben, and instead of asking for her gun back, she says, "Make sure the safety's on when you just have it when you don't have it in use." She does not give a fuck you have her gun.
Oh my god.
You got it, cop.
Maybe it's because she knows that you've been through her room and she doesn't want you to talk.
I raise up the gun and I like act as if I'm putting the safety on because I'm done with it, and then I click it back, realizing the safety was on when I was pointing it at her.
Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
Fucking Rick and Morty. What was that I heard? What was that a first click followed by the click that I asked for, followed by a third correction click?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I liked that part. That was pretty great.
That was
You're
like
right.
such a relatable thing. Like,
It's-
did you just do a thing that doesn't matter to anybody and doesn't change my day but pisses me off greatly regardless? Like,
Well, kind of killed people.
Yeah, in that context it did.
Well, in
Yes.
the second one, yes. In the first one, no. He just messed with the lights.
But with all of that, the three of you, it has been said aloud that maybe you guys should gather all of the people remaining in the house and bring them into this room to let them know what's going on.
Sounds good.
Ruth, you have turned on the electricity and things now. Maybe you can go up to Mason and let him know, and maybe have him come down. You guys do know that there's 2 people left in this lodge that are completely. You guys have no idea, like you haven't seen them all day. And you also know that Stacy, that Rad Chad and the Butler are off in the kitchen.
To review, we know Bodhi, the dead person.
Mr. Bodhi.
Etchen, who I don't think we know his first name yet, but the receptionist. Amanda, our security officer, Wink. We know Mason and Bodhi. So really, the only people that aren't here that we know are Etchen and Mason.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Etkin.
Etkin,
It's
yeah.
Etgen.
It is Etchen. Somebody needs
It's
to
actually
fetch
so
Etchen.
funny because the reason that, like, his name is Etgen because I named him after one of my friends who has a really hard name to say.
That's fair.
Oh, fucking
His name is TJ Etgen, and he's
Yeah.
always been literally one of the biggest reasons we've been friends like growing up is because every time they would call on our names in school, they would always get them wrong.
Oh.
Nice.
It's
Not
like
bad,
Mr.
man.
Mr. Edgen, come to the office, please. Mr. Huggett, come to the office, please.
Oh my god.
And it was Etgen and Hewitt. So anyway,
Oh God.
Can't even cue it. Oh my god.
but with all that being said, Ruth, Ben, Stacy, do you guys would you guys like to go and try to collect people? Would you guys like to stay in here and watch the body? Or would you guys have any other things you'd like to go and do?
I mean, I'm torn. I want to go find like that super nice receptionist guy because I like him and I want to be the one to fetch him. But I also don't trust fucking Mandy watching. What's her face? Yeah.
Do you want to watch out? Do you want to watch over Mandy then?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Ruth? What would you
Can I
like?
have the gun?
You want my gun?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to say no.
Why?
I'll
Because it's
trade you
been-
your gun for this axe.
That is a
yeah.
deal.
Are you guys?
I will absolutely trade a gun for an axe.
Are you
Oh,
trading
no.
the small fire axe for the small for the paintball pistol?
Yes.
I have
All right.
okay focus and no strength.
And I have much more strength than no focus.
All
There you
right,
go.
so you
I
guys
have
just
to-
hand over.
Ruth, give me the
You guys,
gun.
you guys just hand over your weapons to each other. How many paintballs did you have left?
I only shot one, so there's 7 left.
Oh my god.
You have 7 shots with the paintball gun left, Ruth.
Yeah. Fuck.
Hopefully, upon acquiring this small axe, any future negotiations will not lead to people being intimidated by me
You
accidentally.
grab the axe, you look at the axe and smile, but from below where Mrs. Body is, looking up at you, it's a sinister as hell looking smile.
Holy shit.
You stay here, Mrs. Boney.
I just
Pretty
like
sure
pointed at her.
she's convinced that
Don't make
he's
me
the
come
killer.
after you.
She just looks at you. Let's go ahead and have the first roll of the game. Roll me for your muscle, for your intimidation here.
Oh
I
my
hope I
God.
turned out to be the killer.
Oh my god.
That would be kind of great.
Oh fuck.
That for some reason didn't work.
Who's
oh,
to
it's
say?
the other
I
way
mean,
around.
who's to say you're not? Who's to say all of you aren't the killer? Maybe you guys are just pinning it on people. Who's to say?
I got a 20.
I feel like we're in the wrong room.
She just looks at you. Her eyes are just wide. The whole like cry face she has is on there, and she just kind of falls over.
Where's everybody?
Guys,
That's
can you,
right.
Can you link the room that you guys are in? Because I think me and Izzy are in the wrong room.
Oh, it's capital HRP.
Oh, it's P. That's why we're in
Oh,
HRB.
duh.
Izzy.
I'm sorry. I nothing really. I'm just stupid.
Damn it.
the
I
most
have
Why do you
no
do
honest
this?
courtesy.
Oh
No
my
excuse.
god.
I had a temporary seizure, Carrie.
Fucking great. There. Fucking. Oh.
Hello, True Master of Games.
Sorry, I'm a fucking idiot.
Fucking idiot. There. Okay, cool.
But yes, you're going. So Stacy's going to watch Amanda as Mrs. Bodie has just passed out on the floor.
Oh my god.
Ruth, either give me that gun or you can watch fucking what's her face, Mandy.
Yeah, I don't really trust you with this.
Well then watch Mandy and I'm gonna go find the really nice receptionist man.
I mean, I was gonna go find Mason.
Someone needs to be pointing a gun at this bitch. I don't trust her at all.
Wait, why don't you trust me? I'm an officer of the law.
We
Bullshit!
have
You
been
shut
over
up!
This. You are absolutely not.
No one asked you, Jatsumas.
Wait, what?
This is the immediate, like, her transitioning into you shut up. The moment Ruth started talking just made me think of the. No one asked you, Jatsumas.
Oh my god.
And yes, Emerald, you just linked you linked a picture in the chat, and yes, that is the face.
Yeah,
That is the
that's
face.
totally Fuck.
Okay, then what are we doing? Ruth, what are you doing? Are you staying here or are you giving me the gun? What are you doing?
I'm going to leave with the gun.
No, those aren't any of the options that I said you could do.
I don't care what you
Ruth,
want.
listen to me. Listen to me though, Ruth.
Ruth just walks away.
Ruth, you come back here and you listen to me. You give me that gun, Ruth.
Ruth just walks away.
She's flipping me off and she walks away.
Yes.
Ruth, you leave the area to go find Mason. Stacy, are you following Ruth?
Yes, I'm fucking nagging after her. Like, you give me that gun, Ruth.
Ben, the two ladies just left the room. You look down at the other two ladies as you see Mrs. Bodie just passed out. You see Mandy, who's holding the taser, arms crossed, just like nods at you like, I got this.
Amanda, I trust you.
Oh my god.
Why?
You seem
Why?
like you're on the up and up.
Oh my god.
You have the makings of a nice detective in you as well.
Is it because of my detective coat that I materialized because I thought it would fit?
Look, you can't have a detective coat again.
I do! Yes, I
No,
can!
No, you can't.
I'm All Might in a detective coat.
No.
She looks at you. She looks at you and like kind of like holds her chin. You know, I might have a detective coat upstairs.
Oh my god, she's
Oh
looking at you, dude.
my.
Yeah.
Not sure if it'll fit you, but if you don't button it,
Is it a detective coat or a flasher coat?
it might be a flasher coat.
Knew it. I fucking knew it.
I will retrieve it. I will be back.
Why are we all just leaving both of them alone?
I trust her!
No!
Why would
I mean,
you?
so what? If I don't trust her, maybe she'll kill someone and things will get flooded. I
Trying to make bad decisions.
All I know is that we are not playing to any of the bad decision-making tropes that are required in horror, and we need to start fucking up.
That's true.
This is true.
We should, yes.
As all three of you leave the victim, Mrs. Bodie and Amanda inside the room, you guys head off in your directions to go and find people. As Ruth, as well as I think everyone, you all start going upstairs if Stacy's following Ruth.
Yep.
As
I don't understand why you won't just give me the gun, Ruth.
as
Just
the
hand it over.
as the three of you make your way upstairs, I'd like to ask of course Benjamin. I'd like to ask
Oh
Benjamin,
my-
do you want to go straight to the cop's room?
Yes.
You go straight there. You're pretty sure you know where her work clothes are. So you head in there and you go to the cabinet to look and see if you can find this detective coat she was speaking of.
Yay.
As Ruth and Stacy, you guys have made your way up here. Ruth, you know that you wanted to go and see Mason. Do you want to head over to his room, or do you want to try to find the other two people you haven't met yet?
Let's do Mason first.
You make your way over to Mason. I just now realized last week I gave Mason like he's a sickly guy, and now I'm sick, so it's like haha. Anyway.
Yay, it works out.
Yay! Wait.
Well, wait.
Oh no.
As you guys make your way over toward Mason's room, Stacy, you're following after Ruth. Ruth's just like walking away from you, not even.
This is ridiculous. Like, come on. Why? Just give me a good reason why you won't give me this gun.
You couldn't tell the difference between blood, soup, and nail polish.
That
Why
doesn't
would I
affect,
trust you with a weapon?
that doesn't affect my ability to shoot a gun. Now who's being dumb, Ruth?
Not directly, but I feel like it's a bad precedent.
Oh my god, you're such a bitch.
It paints a picture,
God.
is what I'm saying.
Why are you talking about art? Just give me the gun.
You make your way outside
She
of the
thinks
room.
really hard about just unloading it right in her face. The gun, to be clear.
The gun,
With the
so
gun.
we know.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so ridiculous. I love it.
Hey guys, I just made to get one message from my grandpa in Arabic, so I need to get some funnies. No, you guys are bringing a smile. Yeah, we'll bring a smile, Dongo. Don't worry about that, man.
Hell yeah.
But
Also,
the two of you make your way outside of Mason's room. Ruth, would you like to knock on the door?
Oh, wait. You have a question.
quick question. Is Benny the only one who knows for sure that this is a paintball gun?
So do you think it's an actual gun?
Does Ruth think this is a real gun?
Or would you be smart enough to know that it's
You know what, Ruth? I want you to roll me for your wits.
That's fair.
Cool.
It doesn't have the weight you would think a real gun would have.
Damn it.
Especially with that backstory I told you about.
Oh shit.
Just gets out all of her like sexual frustration by shooting things with the gun.
You're pretty
Oh my
sure
God.
that
Oh, yeah.
you've handled guns before, Ruth. This is no gun.
Oh shit.
This is a BB gun at most.
Oh, okay.
Just like unload it for a second, see that it's full of paintballs.
You unload the canister. You look in. You see a bunch of multicolored balls inside. You make the noise that Sideshow Bob makes when he hits the rake.
Oh my god. Those are pretty bullets.
And now Ruth is suddenly realizing she traded a toy gun for a real axe to Benny.
Yeah! Everything's coming up, Benny.
It hurts to laugh.
Oh no!
It's fine.
Johnny.
She reloads the gun before Stacy has a chance to get a good look at the ammo.
But it's so pretty though. I didn't know that bullets came in so many different colors.
Yeah, that is a thing they do.
I'm so glad they did that because like the beige metal color was just so not pretty. Right?
The two of you make your way outside of Mason's room.
Stops herself from
No.
shooting her.
No!
I mean, it is just paintball, but maybe it'll break the skin.
It'll leave a whelp, yeah.
Beautiful skin.
It'll
my
leave
God.
a welt, yeah.
Oh Jesus, Chad.
But Ruth, on the outside of Mason's room, are you going to knock on the door, or are you just going to be like, "Hey"?
I'm gonna put the gun away first,
Good point.
and then knock on the door. Like humans do.
Like humans do.
You knock on the door, and you do hear some shuffling from inside. You hear a bit of a cough on the other side of the door as a small crack appears. You can tell that this person has the little chain lock on the door. Hello.
Hello again.
Oh, it's you. You were able to get the lights on.
Oh, yes, I fixed the power. I wanted to see if it was back on in your room.
The heater's going.
Don't be rude. Jesus.
Oh my god. So gross.
The heater's going really well now. Thank you.
Excellent. There's a thing you should probably be made aware of going on in the common area. You might want to go down.
Oh, are you talking about that body?
How did you know about it? Are you the murderer? He's the murderer, Rose. We gotta get out of here.
I just push Stacy's face aside. But she raises a point. How did you know about that?
I saw a few people outside carrying a body in through the window.
I also mentioned it whenever I talked to him. I say from afar.
Also, Deco, to be clear, would his room have a view of where the direction the body was?
Roll me for wits.
Oh. Oh shit.
25.
Yeah, I think you're good.
See, this is the type of thing you guys need to be doing.
That's what I'm
Plus
thinking.
10.
Now,
Listen.
here's the thing. Here's the
Don't you tell
thing.
me how to RP, okay?
The only way he'd be able to have seen that is if he at some point left his room. On the opposite side of the hall, there are windows looking out to the forest. But on the windows that he has in his room, it looks off toward the ski slopes.
Oh, yeah, did they, to look through your window, see that or something?
He nods.
Well, you should probably come down to the common area anyway, just, you know.
Do you, need me down there?
I should say so, yes.
Can I bring up my heater?
Is it portable?
He kind of closes the door a bit and kind of undoes it. As he does, he opens the door a little bit wider for you guys to actually see him. He's kind of hunched over a bit. He has like a surgical mask on to like keep his coughs from getting out. The room's really disheveled looking, like he's just been kind of walking around and just throwing things down every time he uses it. And he does motion toward what appears to be a small electrical heater that's plugged into his wall.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could bring it if you could carry it.
I guess that's a good point. What about my electric blanket?
You can't bring a blanket downstairs. Just fucking come on.
Just bring whatever you want, Jesus.
Oh my god.
I'll just grab my blanket then.
Okay, you do that.
Make sure and not bring any weapons, you fucking murderer. Let's get out of here, Ruth.
I like clap my hand over her mouth. All right, we'll be seeing you. Jesus fucking Christ!
He just looks at you two as you leave, and he just like goes over to his bed. He unplugs this electric blanket he has and starts rolling it up. You guys close the door as you guys go to leave, and you're just holding Stacy's mouth. There's a bit of something that's coming out of you. It's like, oh god, it's like, oh god, she's still trying to talk and it's getting all over, and it's just like, I mean, it's not the worst feeling you've ever had in your fingers.
Yeah.
You know, it's your good friend Stacy, who you may or may not have a crush on. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, good friend.
Good friend.
Good friend.
As you drag her away and the door closes, do you let her go?
Take like, you know, take her like a couple feet away from the door first. She's gonna start saying stupid shit, and I don't want him to hear. All right, then I take my hand off her mouth.
Ruth, what the crap?
What were you, like, suffocating or something?
Yes. I didn't want to take in the smell of your weird hands because they smell like Cheetos for some reason. Where did you even get Cheetos?
It's my nail polish.
Oh my god! I know for a fact that's not nail polish.
You look at her nails. They're orange with little Chester Cheetahs on them.
It's like the worst looking thing.
Yes. Oh, why do we leave him alone? Like, he's so fucking... No, he's
Okay.
so the murderer.
Yeah, he might be. Don't tell him that.
He's not gonna murder people if he knows that we're onto him being a murderer.
He would explicitly do that
No,
thing.
he wouldn't.
He would murder us.
No, he
He would
wouldn't.
be the first to go.
That's so stupid.
Cut to me. I look good in this.
Chad.
You're just trying on different freaking outfits in there. You have like a little fire woman's outfit on.
Oh my god.
He said he saw the. He said he saw them dragging out the body, but he wouldn't have been able to do that unless he left his room. His room doesn't have a view of that area.
Oh my god, you're right. He's so the murderer.
Not necessarily. Jesus, you need more than like one piece of circumstantial evidence.
What?
But that's all we have on the other person.
Wait, what if they're both the murderer?
What if none of them are the murderers?
What if
having a
you're
good
the
time, and someone
murderer?
just fucking killed me.
I mean, I've been gone for a
What
while
pistol
now,
whip
haven't I?
Stacy really
Ah,
Where-
Ruth, that's murderery right there.
Where is Chad?
Murderery.
I can't wait for Rad Chad to murder everyone in the lodge because you've all left him alone.
I know.
All right, let's go to Chad. Let's go
What are
to
you
Chad.
talking about? I trust my boyfriend. He couldn't be the murderer.
Well, before we go to Chad, Ruth and Stacy, are you guys gonna try to look around up here for any other places that the other two members of the lodge would be?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
would we find them?
Okay.
No.
Everybody's up on this floor. All of their rooms are here. You have an entire other side of the hallway to look through. We'll get to you guys doing that in a second. We'll also see if the gumshoe outfit fits Ben in just a second.
Fucking Izuki just said they put a picture in your Discord that I want to see.
Oh, there's a picture, you say? Well, we're gonna go and find out.
Oh.
Probably in the live. Oh no.
What?
Why did they?
It's All Might again.
Yes.
So
Yes,
Izuki's.
Jerry.
So Izuki guys is the one who made that picture of all of them just kind of standing with each other. And
excellent.
just showing Ben to be All Might in that picture. So I will give this one into the chat right here. See, it's just funny.
Oh my god.
Yes!
It's all smushed.
I'm all
I
squished.
love it. He's all squeezed.
It's all smushified.
I love it.
He's a little bit leaner than All Might, so he can go down those slopes a little faster.
That's fair.
Gives him a really thin head.
I was in a freak wall accident.
A freak wall accident. For anybody who'd like to see the picture, you guys can go to the Discord linked below and go to the live chat there on either the YouTube or the Twitch side. But with all that being said, we are going to be heading off to our good buddy Rad Chad, who may or may not have told me some things off screen. Who knows? So Rad Chad, after your adventures in the kitchen, getting yourself some munchies for a good couple of minutes, you come out. You have a full bowl of popcorn in your hands, and there's some cheddar. There's like some cheddar spice on it. It's pretty good.
Cha, dude. Got the cheddar, bruh.
As you come out from this, you hear noises coming from above, but you also see that the lights are on, and you do seem to see that there are still people off in the main area. As you're doing this, you do also know that maybe you can go back and talk with the butler back in the cafeteria room. Who knows if he's still alive?
If he's still
Oh my
alive.
god.
If Rad Chad left him alive. But where would you like to go, friend?
I would like to go where the other people are.
Would you like to head?
Curious with what's been going on while I've been up to my own shenanigans.
Would you like to head off back into the entrance hall so you can see the Mr. Bodie?
Cha, dude.
All right. You make your way back into the main hall where you had stashed the body before going to get your munchies. You remember leaving Stacy in here. You remember leaving people in here. You walk in here, however, and nobody's. Okay. You walk in here and there is no body. No, there's actually 2 bodies. You see Mr. and Mrs. Body lying on the floor. You also see Officer Mandy sitting over on the couch opposite of them. Officer Mandy just kind of waves at you as you come in, like, yo. Oh God, I didn't know you could do that on Twitch. I didn't know you could do that on Twitch. Sanity Insanity just posted the picture on Twitch, and it's just now covering up like the zone that I have on the screen for it.
What?
Nice. There's an extra body on the floor that I don't remember being there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lady just sitting there waving at me.
Mandy.
Mandy.
Officer Mandy is sitting there.
I think I might be doing a concern right now.
Doing a concern.
Why are you concerned? You're looking down at your handiwork and noting that, oh, another body has joined the fray.
Oh.
I'm gonna eat some of my popcorn as I think about this for a bit.
You're just like standing, you
Hold
look down
on,
concerned, you look over her
Hold on.
concerned, you're just reaching
Looks
your
to the
bowl.
body. Wait a minute. Looks to her. Hold on. Looks to the body. Just a second. Looks to her.
God.
Everyone just calm down. Looks to the body. Something's not right.
To the popcorn. Yum.
Oh my God, yes.
But, Mr. Rad Chad, do you want to perhaps inspect the new body? Would you like to talk with the officer who's just kind of waving at you from the other side of the room? Would you like to just back away slowly?
When you say body, is she decidedly dead?
I mean, she's a body on the floor. Her name is Mrs. Body, and you all know that it's Mrs. Body.
That's what I thought you were doing.
And I can't tell if she's dead or not.
You know that she's handcuffed.
Wait, did I watch them take her in there, or didn't I go to get the munchies?
Yeah, you went to get the munchies.
Or
You
they
never saw
brought her
she was
down.
there.
Oh.
There's an extra body on the floor. Something doesn't feel right to Mr. Rad Chad. He's gonna have to use his wits about him.
Oh.
Figure out what's going
It's
on.
-4 wits.
You want to try to roll your wits, friend?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Why wouldn't I?
Okay. I mean, that's a 14. You look down at the body and you see it slightly moving. The new body is very slightly moving, perhaps asleep.
Good.
Oh, good. She's not dead. He says very much aloud, and he's just gonna walk over to the couch, sit down, and eat his popcorn.
You sit down to eat your popcorn. Almost immediately after you sit down and like grab like a bit of a handful of popcorn, Officer Mandy just kind of reaches over and grabs a couple of kernels.
Yeah, dude, help yourself.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
As the stoner and the police officer, quote,
Yeah.
He was
Quote,
the cheater
unquote.
the whole time.
I think it's a police officer. I need to be nice to the police officer. I don't need to go to jail again.
I
Again.
don't want to go to stranded jail.
No jail. I don't want to go back there. It's not nice.
I stayed overnight in a jail once and there was no weed in there.
Oh God.
Total buzzkill, man.
I woke up and I felt like a productive member of society.
It was just the word.
I felt like I should have went to my job.
Oh, dude.
Anyway,
Shit's so weak.
God, I hope Ruth is the killer.
Oh yeah.
as the two of you sit there, Mandy just kind of is just staring at the body, just making sure it doesnn't go anywhere. You see that in her opposite hand, the one she's not getting popcorn in, there is a taser in her hand.
It's a gun.
Obviously, it's a gun.
Obviously, it's a gun. He doesn't know what a taser is.
That's fair.
Never been tased
Doesn't know
before.
what a taser is?
So high.
Stupid.
I've never understood what they meant when they said, "Don't tase me, bro."
All I know is it sounds cool.
Yes.
Ah, this is what tasing is. Ah, just shoot me.
Just shoot me. I can't deal with this pain.
Ah, cranberry juice is so tart.
Oh God.
Anywho, I actually heard Levy earlier told me not to drink cranberry juice whenever I'm sick, but it's so good. Anyway,
Yeah.
but as you were sitting here, is there anything you would like to do in this room? Would you like to inspect either of the bodies? Would you like to talk to Mandy, or would you like to just finish up your popcorn and go and find other people?
I think I want to inspect Bodhi's body.
Oh my God.
You make your way over to your
He
boy
might have
Bodhi.
more drugs.
Your boy Bodie.
You bring yourself over to your boy Bodhi. Most of the snow and some of the blood have been moved off of him. Again, you were there to notice that there was humongous wounds all over Bodhi. In fact, the biggest of which were all along his back. It seemed like something just large and forceful got slammed in there, breaking the skin and leaving a humongous gash and embedding in this person's back. Luckily, he's laying on his back, so you don't have to worry about that right now. You don't even have to worry about looking at that. Ugh, buzzkill.
Kind of want to look at it though.
You want to turn him over and start looking over his wounds?
Yeah, dude.
All right. You
I
go
need to know
over.
what killed my bro.
You put your popcorn down.
Nah, I give it to the police officer. quote
Okay.
unquote.
You hand your police officer her popcorn. You go over to the body. You kind of like dust your cheese stuff off on your pants.
Oh God.
Yeah, dude.
You don't want to get any cheese in the wound.
Yeah, that's no bueno, bro.
But you flip him over. You look over the wound, and it's pretty gnarly, man.
Ah.
As you look down at it, you notice that the entirety of the back of his coat is completely ripped through. There are large chunks missing from his back. This is where most, if not all, of the blood came from in that big pool of soup.
Oof.
And looking him over again, it does not look like it was any sort of. It doesn't look like somebody of Mrs. Bodhi's stature could have done it. Unless she had like a forklift or something and stabbed it into him.
So it must have been someone exceptionally strong and large.
Potentially.
I have done this?
I mean, you could have Rad Chad. I mean, you could just be admiring your handiwork for all we know.
For all we know.
I mean, who wants to go over and stare at like a back like that? Sounds like a psychopath to me. Wink.
I just need to know
Wink.
what happened to my bro.
Well, now that the ice and snow is all off of him, would you like to inspect anything else on the body? On the body of Bodhi.
I would like to see if there's anything in his wounds that may have broken off.
Ah, you want to check out the inside of the wound.
Yeah.
As you start to reach toward the wound, you hear, "Hey, what are you doing?" You look back as you see that Mandy has like a mouthful of popcorn, is just kind of looking at you like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Shh. I've seen this in movies.
She looks at you. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for her wits. She got a pretty good roll. As she looks back over at you, she kind of like sits the bowl down beside of her, swallows, and just kind of like dusts her hands off. You shouldn't be messing with the body like that. We still don't know what might have happened to him. But as soon as she wakes up, I'm guessing we'll figure it out. You should have heard her whenever you were gone.
But she couldn't have done this.
Hmm.
She's like a wimp.
You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And besides, maybe she had an accomplice. Or maybe a tree fell. Or maybe he was mauled by a bear afterwards. She puts her hand up to like her right temple, like, and pokes at it like, see, I've been thinking.
Oh my god.
Excellent deductions, but I'm trying to find I'm gonna try to figure this out though, for real.
Well, at least let me come over there. As she makes her way over to you and kind of kneels down beside you, she looks down at the back, and she just kind of like, first off, you just kind of see her stare down into it like she's staring at the Grand Canyon or something, just like completely just like engrossed in it. She kind of looks like she grows a little bit paler and looks away for a second. You can kind of tell she's not used to this. She then looks back like, yeah, I'm fine.
You sure, brah?
Thumbs up. Do what you do.
Yeah, dude.
She's like, I'll oversee this. All right, how are you going to be searching the body? You're wanting to look through the wound and see if anything's broken off in it?
Yeah.
Why don't you roll me for
Just
your focus,
my bare
friend?
hands. For my what?
Roll me for your focus, friend.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's my best stat. One of my best 3.
That are all the same.
Well, I got a 14.
You begin looking toward the wound. You kind of like, you're kind of like peeling away little shards of his coat as it's kind of like lifting off, and it's kind of making a weird like squishy sound, and you kind of hear like a bit of a coming from behind you, like, oh god. And as you're trying to look through it, unfortunately, there's just so much blood. There's just so much gore in this. Roll me for your wits, man.
Shot it. Come on. Shot it.
Around the time you kind of peel off the little bit of the back of this guy's coat as you kind of see that you can see bone, and that's when you're starting to be like, well, you know, maybe I'm not the best person qualified for this.
Shit, this might be real.
This may in fact be a murder.
I was thinking it might have been a costume.
No. I thought it was like jelly. And like the soup they were talking about.
Maybe he was making the soup. And this happened.
Of course.
Little did we know he was the soup.
Please let one of us die soon.
As you begin looking through this, unfortunately you're not finding anything. You're not kind of finding anything. You're not really sure what you're looking for, and there are still pieces of like snow and ice throughout the body, and it's hard to look in there. You kind of tried lifting up what you thought was like coat, and it turned out to not be, and that really grossed you out.
Yeah.
So you kind of just like sit back up. You probably go wash your hands.
Yeah, dude.
You can't handle your bong like this.
What?
Said you can't handle your bong like this with all them bloody hands.
Bong.
At first I thought what you meant was I was trying to turn the dead body into a bong.
What?
That's hardcore.
I mean,
You go to the back of Mr. Bodie's lung, you put like a pin needle in it, and smoke comes out.
Jesus.
Because he had that good shit.
try.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway. You make your way out from the room. You're not sure if you found much of anything out except that something pretty gruesome happened out there. Whatever it was, you're not sure if the first person you're gonna go to think who did it was Mrs. Bodie's. She was much younger than him, and she does not have the type of build you don't think for something like that. But who knows? As
Maybe
you go
she's
to
a werewolf.
and she could be a werewolf. As you go to wash your hands and kind of get yourself kind of just thinking straight again after peeling and whatever that was, Ben.
Yes.
You made your way into the room, and as you did, you began looking through the things. You found the gumshoe coat, and I'd like you to roll me for luck to see if it's big enough for you.
Oh no, don't fail me now, luck. Oh, you're my best stat. Serve me well. 21.
It's pretty good.
Yes! It looks amazing on me. Perhaps this should be my new career. I could use my luck to make the world a better place.
Or to hide my crimes like the origami killer. Anyway.
They'd come into my office where I'd have a fedora on, tipped slightly forward while I smoke a cigarette, my feet up on my desk, and I'd be all, "Hey, doll, what brings you to a dangerous side of town?" And then they'd be all hot for me, and I'd be a detective, and someone just fucking kill me! Jesus Christ! I'm too dumb to live!
I know too much.
Yeah, dude.
You're not sure if you can find anything else in this room that you haven't already found. You know the fuzzy cuffs are in the drawer if you'd like to grab them, but other than that,
I will actually grab and stash the fuzzy cuffs just in case they come in handy.
you're gonna grab the fuzzy cuffs and put them in your gumshoe outfit.
That's right.
Put them in your gumshoe coat.
That's right.
You take off your pro skier coat. You replace it with the gumshoe trench coat. You start replacing all your belongings from your mini pockets into the mini more pockets. You look in the mirror for a second. You're like, yes.
Yes. Now that that's taken care of, I should go do my part in alerting the other people that we're meeting downstairs.
You leave the hallway as you notice that that both Ruth and Stacy are also looking through rooms. Would you like to look around up here for another person, or would you like to try looking somewhere else in the lodge?
I'd like to go to any of the doors that I have not been to yet, either via forced entry or by polite knocking.
Well, most of the doors on this side you've already been through. Most of the doors on this side of the hall you've already been through, other than the one leading off to the janitorial closet. However, on the other side, there is a completely other section of rooms that, again, Ruth and Stacy had walked up to a door, and they began knocking on it and other things like that. You can just pass by them if you want to, or you can help them with whatever they're doing. What do you want to do?
I'll go past them and just be like, give them a thumbs up as I go by.
Good job, ladies.
Ruth, Stacy, you see that he is now dressed like a gumshoe.
Your ensemble is great. We found the murderer.
Excellent. It'll go great with our other murderer.
I know.
Can never have too many suspects, I always say as of now.
Ruth really wishes it was a real gun just so she could shoot herself.
Let us not linger, though. Let's keep this party moving to a door.
Yeah, alright. Get this shit show on the road.
Oh.
You guys make your way to the other side. As you do, Ben, you begin looking around. You know that one of the rooms on this side is Mrs. Bodie's room. However, there are 4 other rooms here. And there's only 2 other guests, so one of these rooms has to be empty. At least maybe 1 or 2 of these rooms could be empty. Who knows? But
So there's 4 rooms?
There are 4 other rooms up here, other than the one that they're looking at and the one that you know is Mrs. Bodie's room.
Okay, Deco, assign a mental number to each of them. From
All
1
right.
to 4.
Yep, I have assigned 1 through 4.
Alright. I rolled a D4. I'm going to 1.
Okay, that is the room right beside That is the room right beside the one that Ruth and Stacy are going to.
All right.
As you
I'll
walk past
handle this one.
as you walk by them and you give them the thumbs up and you guys talk about the murder and all that good stuff, the two groups like simultaneously they will give a knock on their door, and unfortunately you do not get a response from yours. Maybe they got one from theirs. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in a second. Okay, so but
Oh my god.
you do not seem to get a response from yours. What would you like to do?
There's an important matter that requires your attention, person beyond this door. I will give you 3 seconds to respond. 1, 2. I have an axe. 3. I'm coming in.
I'm gonna try to break down the door.
Oh my god.
All right, are you going to try to break off the door knob, or are you going to just try to kick down the door?
I'm just gonna try to break the door in, yeah.
All right, roll me for your muscle.
Holy.
Oh, I got a 13. That's not incredibly high.
You go up and you're just like, all right, you pull your leg back, you push forward with your boot, and it doesn't really go anywhere.
Well then,
I pull out the small axe.
do I or don't I?
You just like start axing down the door, put your face in, here's Benny.
Okay, person behind the door. As of this point, you must be aware that I'm very serious about coming in. I recommend stepping back, because I will be putting an axe in the door momentarily.
Please don't do that.
I'm aware this sounds crazy, but desperate times call for axes.
Just do it. Just do it. He needs it.
Don't encourage him.
Would you like to use your axe on the door?
Yes.
This will give you an additional +3 to your muscle roll. So please roll me again with an additional +3.
25.
You bring your axe up to the door as a large chunk of wood just starts getting tore from it. You're using this thing, you're just wrenching wood from the area to a point where you can reach in with your hand toward the door you unlock it, you undo the little chain lock, you pull it back, and the door's open.
Oh.
I would like to enter.
You turn the knob and you enter as I think Ruth just has a heart attack beside you.
Not Ruth, I got in.
As you make your way inside, this is the funniest part. As you make your way inside, you start looking around as you notice this is a very neat room. You look around until you find the cabinet as you open it up and you find assorted butler wear.
Oh, this is the receptionist's room. He's already downstairs.
Wait,
Well, I'm here. Time to look around.
oh
Oh my god.
he knows what's up.
All right, there is
No
actually
one's
something
not
in
a
here.
suspect.
There is actually something in here that I have made for you to find. There's also several things in here you might find interesting, but I don't really care about, so we'll see what happens. As you begin to go through the areas, just like before with the other room, there are 3 places of interest. There is the cabinets, there are the bedside tables, and there is the luggage. Which would you like to search first?
So cabinets, bedside table, and luggage?
Mm-hmm.
Luggage.
You bring yourself over toward the luggage in this area. You start looking around at it as you notice that there's a lot of recently packed luggage here. You do know that the butler didn't actually live in this part of the lodge before. He moved up from downstairs whenever all of this bullshit happened over the weekend. He wanted to have an actual good bed to sleep in, since most of these places up here were vacant with everybody leaving. He was up here during the storm times. You do notice on your way moving over to the luggage that he has a nice view of the forest. That's interesting. Anyway,
A nice view of the forest.
yeah, pretty nice view.
Oh. He probably saw what was going on.
But as you're going over to the luggage, roll me for your wits, please.
Oh no.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Wits. 4.
Oh.
You begin, you unzip the luggage, you start kind of like tearing some things out from it. You're trying to find anything in here. You're seeing that most of the stuff he has packed in here is kind of casual pleasantries. You can tell that all of his work clothes he's already hung up. The rest of these things are casual at best. And unfortunately there's nothing really in his luggage of any note.
Drat. He's a normal guy.
Oh, what a thought.
You're not in here! I was talking to myself!
Johnny.
We don't
You're
even
being
know what
very
happened
loud.
with
I
your
can hear
door.
you.
I was speaking quietly.
I somehow doubt that.
I somehow doubt that your face is a cantaloupe.
He's right.
Ah,
Ruth, just put the gun down.
Burnmaster Benny, they call me.
There is the cabinet and the bedside drawers. remaining.
Cabinet next.
You head your way over to the cabinet with all of the nice suits that are all lined up and pressed and proper. You begin tearing through those. Go ahead and roll me for your wits.
No.
No.
6.
Unfortunately, wits is the stat for looking for clues, so...
Yeah, I know.
Rip.
As you begin going through, all you've managed to do is kind of ruffle some of the clothes, and some of them are now, like, they need to be pressed and folded and ironed again, unfortunately. It's almost as if he has no skeletons in his closet.
My God.
If only I knew what I was looking for. Well, don't leave the job half done. To the bedside table.
You make your way to the bedside table. If there's anything in this room, it's gotta be here by process of elimination. Without knowing about the secret, without knowing about the secret compartments behind the televisions that the other friends have already found out, but they haven't told anybody. You make your way over to the bedside tables, and you take and you pull out the drawers of them. You're trying to find things to them. You're shuffling through. There just seems to be kind of papers and other types of little knickknacks. There's a tums. As you're looking through, however, roll me for your wits one more time.
Johnny.
Hate this. 3.
Oh no.
Jesus.
You find a half a pack of Mentos.
This is
Johnny.
mine now.
Oh my God.
Yes.
The man
thinking-
has so little.
I'm taking 1.
Mouth and letting out a big smile. Sure.
You flick a Mentos into your mouth from the packet. You just kind of hold it between your teeth. You put the packet back. You close the drawers. And again, if only you knew of the secret compartments that were in here that your friends Stacy and Chad know about, but they haven't told anybody about.
It's true.
But wait, Deco. You forget about the most powerful force in the universe.
Your axe.
Damn it, I didn't get as high as I wanted to.
Did you
Oh.
roll
I
luck?
randomly rolled luck, and if I rolled over a 25, I was gonna be like, in my frustration, I swing my axe.
Unfortunately, this room has been a dud. The butler seems to have no skeletons in his closet. Maybe he's not also a murderer.
Alright, on to a different room.
You make your way
Everyone's
out.
a
You make your way
murderer.
outside of the room as you begin to think about another room. However, as you're thinking about another room, let's find out what happened in the room beside of yours. Ruth and Stacy,
Yes.
you guys made your way to the first room of the floor. You saw your friend Ben go by, and axe down a door. You guys knock on the door that you have. Would you like to go ahead and roll me for your lucks, please, both of you?
Oh shit.
Let's see.
Let's roll the game. So wait, it's like fucking hashtag D20.
That's an 18,
Bet.
That's not
Fuck.
and that is less than 18.
Yeah.
I have higher luck than you, but I got less.
Ruth, you make your way over to the door. You give a good knock on the door, and as you do, the door kind of slides open slightly, but it seems to be stuck on something.
Didn't even
Oh my
have
god,
to
there's a dead body behind the door, and Stacy fucking clutches to Ruth.
I draw a gun.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Chad, you're not here, baby, okay?
It's just echoing through your heads now. That's all this is.
Cha, cha, cha.
Alright, Stacy, you open the door and I'll be ready with the gun.
Why are you sending me in first?
Because I have a gun.
Well, why don't you give me the gun and I'll go in first?
Because I have a gun.
Wait,
Sense.
did you just say, why are you sending me in first? Give
Yeah.
me the gun and I'll go in first.
Yes.
What changed the plan is that you acquire the gun.
Yes. She knows what she wants. Okay, I'm going. She tries to like squish through the gap.
Roll me for muscle.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Okay. Oh. Oh shit.
Rip.
Yeah.
You begin to push whatever's on the other side. It's not incredibly heavy, but it's obviously not a dead body. As you're pushing it, it feels like someone just put something in front of the door. As you feel it slightly giving way, you're pushing it out a little bit further. Roll for focus.
Oh shit. What is my focus? Oh. Wow. Oh. Well.
Yeah, dude.
As you're pushing this out of the way, you see a figure out of the corner of your eye, raising something above their head.
She's just gonna scream.
Are you gonna move?
No, she's just gonna scream.
Stacy, dumb bitch.
Not moving.
I can do nothing to stop this.
Okay. I'm not moving.
You're just like pushing with the door. You look up, you notice this, and with plenty of time, by the way, with that 17.
Yeah.
You just look up and you're just like,
Go.
As this person brings down what they're holding, we're gonna have to roll for this person's amazing muscle stat.
Oh fuck.
-3, -3.
They actually got a pretty good roll with their +2.
Oh shit.
You're being attacked.
I
They
know.
break-
Hopefully I'll die.
They bring down whatever they're holding down on top of Stacy. Stacy, you were able to see this coming even though you didn't move. So you're only going to be taking 1 damage.
I took damage.
You took damage.
It's kind of a badge of honor, isn't it? Thinking about who's gonna die first.
I want it.
Whoever it is gonna be
wanted
like
that first.
happy.
I know. I'm shooting for it.
I think we all want to die.
No, right?
But that
As this
said-
person
that
has
said, it
brought
won't be a
down some
special-
sort of a large wooden rod down onto your shoulder.
It's a fucking table leg.
I need you to roll me for your focus, please.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Because they are using non-lethal damage.
Oh,
Oh, okay, cool.
I hate them.
What? Oh,
You immediately fall to the ground from this.
Stacy, no.
Hey, no.
You immediately get brought down to your knees from the blow to your shoulder as you just look up. Ruth, by the way, something just hit Stacy. You saw a piece of wood come out and bash her over the shoulder. You look forward. Roll me for your focus.
That's
Oh,
where her
fuck.
brain is. She's unconscious now.
yes.
Jesus. All right, focus.
She's not unconscious, but
Oh no.
Is he? Why?
you do not
I
see
tried.
the figure. You're not sure if you can hit them if you fire inwards. Would you like to still try?
Can I instead just grab Stacy's leg and run?
Oh, you could definitely try to pull her out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab Stacy's leg and run.
Roll me for your muscle.
Muscle.
This is gonna be bad. Let's see.
Does Betty not hear any of this? She screamed like real loud.
Yeah, you'll see.
No? Oh, fuck. Okay.
It is Benny. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun,
Maybe it
dun.
is.
Oh,
maybe it's actually Chad.
Oh shit! Fucking run, bitch.
You pull Stacy from the doorway. You pull it back. You pull back. You see Ben as he rushes out from the other door after hearing Stacy scream her freaking lungs out. The door in front of you guys slams shut.
So I'm unconscious right now, right?
You're not
The door
unconscious.
they
You're
just
fine.
The door
Okay.
that the person that just smacked him is in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I look over to Stacy. I look to Ruth. I'm just like,
Did what I think just happened just occur?
What do you think happened? Holding like Stacy's leg, like,
Is there a violent individual within that room?
I mean, looking down at Stacy. Yes.
All
That-
right.
Man.
But
will
I mean,
just
in
make-
fairness, we did kind of walk into their room, which was unlocked, but still, they might have a
Person!
legitimate reason.
Person,
I like point my axe at the door despite the fact that they can't see it.
person who is within this room, know that I will be coming in and mean no harm to you. I do, however, mean harm to your door. You will be made to answer for what you have done to poor Stacy.
You hear a voice. However, it does not come from the door. It seems to come from behind you.
What?
As it says, "Put down your weapon." You look back and you notice no person behind you.
Are you a spooky ghost?
It's a spooky ghost!
Oh my god!
Ruth, roll me
Who is-
wits, because you're the only one here that I trust.
Is there a PA system here?
Ruth, you look up, and unlike everywhere else in this entire fucking lodge, you see a tiny speaker up at the top corner of the hallway.
Now, does this look like something like, you know, like unofficial PA system in the lodge?
There is
or
no
something that
official
someone,
PA
like-
system, no.
Okay, so it looks like maybe something that someone.
It looks out of
without anyone
place.
noticing.
Okay.
It's like, Benny, wait, look.
If I see. If we can question them from here, then we should.
I still think
Can
Why
you
did you
hear us?
attack? What?
Can you hear us?
Of course I can hear you. I saw you beat down my neighbor's door.
Just glare at Benny.
Yes, I did that.
Oh my god.
How
And you beat
exactly
my
did you
friend, so
see
we're
that
even.
happen?
I destroyed a door. You attempted to destroy a person. I think you're more in the wrong.
I think it was justified, just saying. But how did you
Ruth.
see? How did you see him break down the door?
I don't believe I need to tell you that.
I have
You
a gun.
clearly have cameras around.
How did you know?
So tell me, did you attack my friend because you were frightened that we would do you harm?
Can't trust anyone in this place. I saw you all carrying a body.
There has been a death. Tell me, what do you know about the murder?
Murder. All I know is you all brought a body in from the forest.
Yes, and we're gathering everyone in the lobby so that, you know, we can see who the suspects are and figure out what's going on.
I don't know the body. What are you talking about?
Really? Because you know his name, apparently.
No, I don't.
We're going to have to ask you to come downstairs and join with everybody when we get to the bottom of this.
Yes. If you would be so kind. You are in no danger.
Can't I just give you something that I can talk through?
That doesn't make you seem super trustworthy.
I don't need anyone to think I'm trustworthy. I just need you all to leave me alone.
Do you
Well,
want
as
to
it
go
is,
to
we only
prison?
want to question everybody anyways.
There's no need to question me. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, but we don't know you. You could be lying.
I mean,
I don't see anything wrong with, as long as you can communicate with us downstairs, taking whatever device you wish to give us with us. Sorry, I lost my train of thought at the end of that.
Yes, but if he's only communicating with us through voice, he could be doing who knows what. Well, we would have no idea.
Unless this entire place is rigged with traps that they're controlling through some kind of science fiction monitoring device.
I could do that.
But do you want me to trust you or not?
What's wrong with you?
I don't care if you trust me. Just know there could be hundreds of traps in my room.
Okay, I'm coming in.
There could be thousands.
Or there could be none.
I could have a catapult.
Well, then you better get it ready, because you'll need to get me out of there once I'm in.
We're laying siege.
Well, all right. You're asking for it. Here I am, cranking up my catapult. You go to the door.
I'm going forward, and I'm gonna axe the door in.
You're just not even gonna try to open. You're just gonna axe it first.
Oh my god.
Step away from the door.
It's not locked.
I don't care.
roll me for your muscle plus axe.
Oh my god, please
So,
fail.
what was that? Plus 3?
Please
Plus
fail.
3.
So 23 then.
Oh, fuck.
You begin to axe at the door. As you do, you see something stick out from the hole you make. Roll me for your speed, please.
Why was that last one a +4 and a +3?
Because he's using his
my
axe.
muscle and axe.
Oh, because the axe is on there too. Okay, I'm confused. Fuck.
11!
You see what appears to be something jutting out from the door. You were not there to see this because you were inside the other room. You see a wooden pole come sticking out from the doorway. You are not fast enough. It catches you in the chest.
Oh,
You take 1 damage.
Wait a minute, I gotta pee. I'll be back. I'm also gonna get more water. Son of a bitch.
If you think that you've deterred me from entering your room, then you are dead wrong. You will come.
I start bouncing my axe up and down in one of my hands.
If you will not come out and come speak to us civilly, I will force you to come speak to us civilly.
You want to roll for another? For another axe go? You can't seem to reach in like you did the other door. You're either gonna have to break down the door or try to open the door.
I'm taking the door down.
All right, roll me for your strength with axe
24.
one more time.
24.
You break. You slam the axe against the door. You know what to do. There's apparently a dude on the other side stabbing at you with some sort of pole. You bash the back of the axe against the hinges of the door, completely cracking the top hinge as you push it down. The door falls.
And that is to go farther beyond.
The door falls,
Ultra!
seemingly over a cabinet or something that he has put in front of the door. You see what appears to be a scrawny kid.
Oh, come on, what are you doing?
You see like a scrawny dude, maybe like high teens, as he has like these really thick-rimmed glasses and he has a mop in his hands.
Listen, young friend, we didn't mean to do you any kind of scare.
Roll
you
speed.
should come down. Oh shit. That's an 18.
He jabs at you again, but you're able to move away from it.
Can I grab it and hold it?
Roll muscle.
All right.
Fucking mop.
17.
You grab at it and you just tear it out of his hands.
Look! Children should respect and listen to their elders. Good for you to do what adults say when they clearly mean you no harm. Come downstairs.
Ruth slowly putting the gun behind her back.
The thick-rimmed glasses young lad backs up. His back is now up against the wood of the opposite wall. He looks out the window. He's like, I'm on the 2nd floor. I'm not gonna drop down.
Okay, I'm coming through the cabinet.
You push the rest of the door away. You just kind of move the cabinet he had leaned up against the door out of the way. You make sure to throw the mop outside.
Now listen, I am a well-meaning adult with no strange intentions. I take out the fuzzy handcuffs. Don't come to me.
Yeah. I'm back. What of this? What's happening?
Handcuffs.
You took out the fuzzy handcuffs? Oh my god.
I broke the door down. It's a kid. I took his goddamn mop that he was attacking us with, and I'm fuzzy handcuffs.
Kid.
Yeah. When you say kid, like you said, what kind of teens?
He's around high teens, so, you know, kid compared to All Might here.
Like
Okay.
18, 19.
So
Oh,
at the age of,
he's possibly
Okay.
either just out of high school or still in like high grades of high school.
This is your last chance to come downstairs and discuss the murder with I have hiccups with everybody.
He just looks at you. He looks over at his bed. You see that on his bed there are several squares of monitoring cameras on there. As you actually see that there is one of the room that has Mr. Bodie in it.
Oh. Listen. You could be a major help in finding out who did this, clearly.
I don't know anything. I don't even know that guy.
Why do you
Did
need
you
all these
see-
cameras?
Did you see something that has frightened you?
No.
Listen,
I put my axe back in my coat and put the fuzzy handcuffs away. I put my hands up. I stay in the door, but I put my hands up to be like, no harm here.
I don't want to do you any harm. We want to get to the bottom of whoever took the life of Mr. Bodie. If we find out who it was, we can promptly arrest them, do them, and make sure they don't hurt anybody else. Your monitoring equipment may be instrumental in finding out who did it. Won't you help us, please?
That's the problem. You're not gonna like what you find on there.
Why is that?
I've been watching you. He kind of looks away, and then kind of looks back toward Benny in particular.
Like me in particular, or everybody?
I've been spying on you since before the storm.
I see.
For the
Are
competition.
you a fan?
Oh, for the competition.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh
For
my God, I
legal
moved to another
purposes?
person.
For legal reasons? Do you think that I might have been cheating? Are you a fan? Are you working for Mr. Bodie?
He just kind of like looks down when you say that.
You're working for Mr. Bodie!
Oh no!
Of course, this monitoring equipment is so that you could spy on me, so that you could collect any information on me, so that Mr. Bodie could use it against me in the competition. Little did you know, I don't know the first thing about skiing. I've
Also,
always
he's
won my
dead.
forfeit.
Oh my god. So Mr. Bodie hired you to help him cheat.
Oh, roll buddy.
You're skipping out slightly.
Oh, I am? Sorry.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care.
I don't really care either.
You could spy on... If you did indeed spy on me, all you would find out is that I meant no harm to anybody and never committed any crime. However, if you have any information on Bodie on those tape, kids use to keep track of digitally recorded media these days, then I can use it to find out who murdered my competition, your boss.
I mean, he paid in advance, so I really don't care.
Okay, cool.
Okay, but murder though.
He was kind of a dick. I'm kidding. All right.
Fuck.
He just kind of looks at you, and you won't break my equipment or anything like you did my door.
Of course not. Your equipment is not between you and I.
And you won't beat me up for jabbing at you and hitting that girl.
Of course not. She probably asked for it.
No, in fact, I hand the kid like $5.
What? Honestly, I can't blame you. It's only natural that you respond to an invader in your personal space with violence.
Can I get ready first?
Yes.
No.
Ladies, trust the young man.
Saying that while still face first on the ground.
Yeah, no.
He just kind of gulps. He goes over to his computer and just kind of closes his laptop. He seemingly like just kind of grabs like an overshirt, like not even a coat. It's short sleeved. And then he just kind of like, all right, I'm ready.
Let's do this.
What's your name, by the way?
Paul.
Paul Dog.
Let's
go.
My name's not Paul, dog. It's just Paul.
Of course not. It's just Paul.
Wow.
Just Paul.
Paul. That takes me back. All right. I just like look at the girls. You two find the remaining person that we have not brought downstairs. I will escort the young Mr. Paul.
I'm not the fuck out, dude.
There's no one else.
Is Stacy
What?
unconscious or?
Stacy's not unconscious.
Oh,
Oh, okay, I'm awake now.
What do you
I
mean
dropped
there's
her
no one
leg.
else?
Ah, fuck.
There's no, everyone should be downstairs. Other than you guys and me.
But by the list that I'm keeping in my mind, I've only count. There's one set of question marks.
He kind of like looks down the hall a bit, kind of, Ellie.
Do they frighten you?
He gulps. He looks at you guys and he opens up his laptop again. He goes over to a certain square on the laptop. He uses his touchscreen. He touches it as it enhances. You see a room very similar to the rooms you guys were staying in. And in said room, there is someone in the dark lying on the floor.
Oh,
Dear
no.
God! I rush to the room and break it open with all my strength.
Which room are you rushing to? There's 3 doors left.
The whichever one he motioned to.
You walk to the first door. He's like, no, the next one.
I just. Thank you very much. Be good! Runs to the right one.
You grab at the door. The door is locked.
You know what I'm doing.
don't act like you don't know.
Roll me for your muscle and your axe.
27, nat 20.
You just burst through. You throw yourself and the axe at the door, and without even like tearing the wood out, you just burst through the door.
Oh my god.
Have no fear, for I am here.
Fucking person in the room's like, who are you?
As you
Why are
burst
you doing
in,
this?
you look around in the dark until you find the outline of a body on the ground. You reach over to the lights and flick them on, but the lights do not come on. It's as if somebody
Why did you
has
fix the lights
deliberately
on?
blown out the light in this area, maybe.
I rush over to the body and I check on them.
You rush to the body of what feels and looks like, whenever you get close enough, a slightly older woman.
Oh no.
As you go to it, you turn the body around. They were laying on their stomach. You're trying to get them awake, but their head just slumps to the side. You then look below them. As you look at the back of your hands after you flip them over, there is something wet on the back of your hand. You see blood.
Oh no.
It
But
is
damn, Bodhi.
another murder. So they've claimed more than one, which means we all may be in more danger than we thought.
But it also means that it wasn't any of us. Because we were here.
Who knows how long this has been here? Paul, when did this happen? Do you know what happened?
I wasn't able to see. Everything this morning was out. The electronics all went out.
So then both murders occurred this morning.
They both occurred when I had no ability to see them with my computer.
You seem to know an awful lot about this, Paul.
I stayed up all night last night trying to get my computer back on so I could play so I could look at the.
We cannot criticize Paul for knowing what he doesn't know. No, I don't mean like for knowing things he shouldn't know. I mean for being aware of information he does not possess, knowing that he doesn't know things.
Oh yeah, we understand.
Did anyone ever tell you look like All Might from My Hero Academia?
I've never heard that before.
My God.
Only you also have this kind of detective gumshoe thing from Phoenix Wright.
That's exactly what I'm going for.
Objection.
Oh, don't encourage him.
With this new information, what do you want to do with the new body?
Wish I was the murderer.
Go on.
With this new information, what would you like to do with the new body?
I suppose we'll have to carry it downstairs.
So
You
we're
lift
just
the-
gonna
you lift the
pile up
body.
Bodies?
You lift
Yeah.
the body into your arms. As you do, you feel it kind of leaking beneath you. Would you like to wrap the body up a little bit, or just let it leak all over the place?
I will. Yeah, I'll like take off my detective jacket and like.
There's
Well,
a
is there a
there's a
bed in here?
blanket
Is there
on
a
the
bed?
there's
on
a
the.
good-
Yeah, I was
bed
gonna
sheet or
use the
something.
blanket.
Ruin your coat, damn.
Jesus.
I know how
Crime
this
scene
looks with
completely
me.
ruined.
You're covered in the blood of that woman. You must.
I didn't kill her.
But her blood's all over you.
Naraku set me up.
So we want to move the body. Isn't that like wrecking the crime scene? Again.
Listen, the only cop that we have access to probably doesn't care much for those sorts of things.
She's not actually a cop.
How dare you? I walk away with the body.
One play.
Are we just gonna have like a pile of corpses in the lobby by the end of this?
Yes.
We
By
just
the
throw
end
it
of this,
into
you know,
one
you mean
little
right now. I'm
pile.
kidding now.
Did you know that Rad Chad spelled backwards is Naraku?
Oh my god, fuck off.
No, it's not.
Jesus
You'll
Christ.
die.
As you guys begin to bring the newly found body, as well as your new nerd downstairs.
Okay.
Rad Chad, you come back from the bathroom to find your
Oh, you
girlfriend.
didn't get my murder message? I mean, my message?
Oh,
Oh my God.
Your murder message, you say?
Oh. Your murder message?
Oh my fucking god! All right, I get you. I get the psychotic energy from you.
Chaddy.
As you come back out from the kitchen, doing your deed,
Chaddy.
you
Here's
notice
Jack in
your
the
girlfriend Ruth and that guy Ben come down from the upstairs, and Ben is holding a woman in his arms.
Dude.
By the way, now that you guys have the woman in better light, she seems to be in her late 20s, maybe early 30s.
Do we
Determine the
recognize
cause
her
of
now that we
death.
can see her better?
Looking at this woman, you guys know this to be the girl that, again, she was stuck here with all of you guys for the past couple of days. She was kind of snooty, kind of talked a bit like more regally than the others. She kind of wanted the butler to wait on her hand and fucking foot. Really annoyed him. He was always like going whenever she was around, and kind of giving her nasty looks. As far as anything you guys have had to do with her, she didn't really seem to like Rad, Chad, Stacy, or Ben very well for some reason. But Ruth, she was all right with you. She spoke civilly with you.
Oh.
Everybody loves her.
The mega
Oh,
bitch.
Jesus.
She was kind of bitchy.
I remember her. She chastised me for slurping spaghetti.
You also know that before all of this, she was more hanging out with Mr. and Mrs. Bodie than anyone else out of you. But no,
Yeah.
Rad Chad, you see this in front of you.
She dead? Or she just doing a snooze?
She's very dead.
Come on, baby. Everybody's turning up dead. Of course she's dead.
But it's
What?
bummer, but not really, but it's sad.
Yo, right?
You don't seem very affected by this.
Narrow
Well, she was a
eyes.
bitch.
You leave him alone. She was a bitch.
I mean, that's
Even a bitch does not deserve death.
exactly.
So I said it was sad.
Some bitches, maybe.
Well, is everybody in the room right now? Like, is everybody?
You guys
in the
are all,
lodge?
you guys are all right now in the entrance hall.
All
You
right.
guys still have to go off into the other room with Mr. and Mrs. Bodie, as well as the police officer, and potentially Mason went there. Who knows?
We should all go to the main room and wait for everybody to gather, since we now have everybody.
All right. With all that being said, does anyone want to go into the kitchen and tell the butler to come in?
Oh yeah.
Rad Chad, do you want to go and tell the butler?
Ja, dude.
All right. Rad Chad, you make your way inside. Do you want to collect your items while you're in there?
Ja, dude.
All right, you collect your items while you're in there, and you come back out. The butler said that he'd be there in a bit. Rad Chad, you tell him he'll be there in a bit.
All right.
It's definitely what he said. It's not dead.
Definitely. He's not dead.
It's not bad. He's fine.
Oh,
But no,
Place
do you-
the body next to Mr. Bodie.
You make your way back into the room with all of the people inside. You do see that Mr. Mason has made his way over to the corner of the room. He's sitting beside one of the outlets, a blanket plugged into the outlet, and he's kind of wrapped himself up in it. You see that Officer Mandy is sitting on a couch, a empty bowl of popcorn beside of her. You see Mr. and Mrs. Bodie laying on the ground, one of them handcuffed, the other one on their stomach, with them showing off their grievous wounds. And all of you guys, including your new dead body, your Nerd, your Chad, your Ruth, your Stacy, and your Ben, come walking in.
Wait,
You put the-
did we get the dead woman's name?
Yeah.
The dead woman, right? Sorry, her name was Clarissa. She made sure to let everyone. My name is Clarissa Rutherford.
Ugh.
Clarissa.
Ja.
I'm an elegant woman.
Ugh.
Ja.
Elegant women don't need to say that they're elegant women.
Mason, officer, likely unconscious Miss Bodie. There has been another death.
The officer stands up and goes over to you. Another body. She looks down at Mrs. Bodie. She works fast.
Oh my God, she didn't do it. Probably, I don't know.
I believe this case has been blown wide open, officer. We cannot be certain of who the killer was now.
We don't even know when she died.
It had to have been sometime between 1 this morning and around 9 when you turned the power back on. Not 9, but around 10 when you turned the power back on.
There you go.
So an early riser. Although I suppose anyone would rise early if they had intentions of murder.
Ba, ba, ba.
Ja.
Cha cha cha.
Shaw.
Paul goes over to the side of the room and plugs in his laptop and sets it up on a table near him, as it looks like he's trying to just he'll speak when he's spoken to. You set the body next to the other body, and you call to Paul.
Paul, do you have any monitoring things downstairs where the fuse box would have been?
I was never allowed in the basement. I
Correct.
only have places that I was supposed to watch.
Well then.
What do you mean
In that
supposed to
case.
watch? The officer looks over at him, squinty-eyed.
Young Paul was hired by part of the skiing organization to keep an eye on some of the skiers to watch out for illegal drug use.
He
And
looks at
such.
you because you didn't say he was working for Mr. Bodie, and he looks at you like, oh man, maybe he's a nice guy.
Mhm.
He is officially licensed, and everybody that was being watched gave their consent to our knowledge. So we're going to use his monitoring equipment to see if he happened to catch anything.
She looks at you, and as she does, let me have her roll for her amazing wits again.
Oh my
All
God.
I will say, Miss Officer, is that the identities of certain people and their deeds shortly before what happened perhaps don't matter in the face of the current situation.
Yeah, sounds about right. She rolled an 11.
Yes.
She doesn't fucking care.
Cool.
God, dude.
Wow.
Sounds about right. All right, cool.
Well, so let's
Yeah.
go over the evidence then, shall we? We know that there are 2 murders, both of which must have taken place between 1 a.m. and 10 a.m. One body was dragged outside into the cold. The other was left in a room.
Well, I mean, we don't know that it was dragged outside. They could have been killed there. There were no
But-
blood marks.
Also, how do we
That's
not
right.
know that it was before 1 a.m.? Like, does he have monitoring equipment like outside? Doubt it.
Well, it seems likely that both were committed during the same time. If
Yeah,
the
but it could have happened
Well-
electricity-
earlier.
Well, actually, I don't have any modern equipment outside. I have some in the other building, but my room faces the forest.
So did you see anything? Ted?
I had heard something shortly before all of the lights went out. I looked outside and some people were walking off into the forest.
Some people.
Like multiple people?
2.
Oh, actually, now that I
But
think about it, there was a
one of
trail
them-
of blood leading to the forest. An injury may have been sustained before they were actually killed, and they may have wandered out. Or been dragged out.
But
I
he
think
says he
they'll-
saw them walking. So
They weren't-
Yeah.
They weren't together. They were going one after the other. I
Oh.
didn't really pay much attention, though. I was watching other things.
I mean, it didn't look like they were dragged, like maybe carried, but maybe they were just wounded, ran out into the snow, and then finished off.
Were they running or just like walking, not really caring?
I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay.
Hmm.
Sorry.
But it was... You said they weren't together. Sorry if I...
No, they weren't walking together. It was one after the other.
And it was 2.
From
Could you
what I
make
saw.
out if it? Could you make out if it was like a guy or a girl? Like
It
he
was around-
following the
It was
story?
around 12 at night. It was really dark.
Okay.
That is... Do you have any, In your time monitoring people within the lodge, did you notice any strange interactions between anybody that may have shown anybody was doing this? Did you see anybody go into the basement with a weapon with the intent to sabotage it? Speaking of which, what was the state of the breaker downstairs?
Ruth?
Aimed at Ruth, probably. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Someone, I have no idea who, cut the power by putting that axe through it.
So this was totally done on purpose to hide this murder.
I mean, maybe,
Yeah.
probably.
Well,
Like, oh my god.
You said that
Just oddly, taken aback that you would put that together.
I've
Stacy.
watched enough Pretty Little Liars to know what's going on.
There it is.
said
You were...
you said
Yes, please.
kid was watching all of us.
To some extent.
Would it not have to have been somebody who knew that?
Well,
Hmm.
those of us associated with the official ski federation, or whatever the fuck it's called,
That's the full
we
name.
would've-
Yeah, the OSF, of course.
That's the full name right there. The official
the
ski.
OSF OTFIC. the official ski federation or whatever the fuck it's called. We knew and we consented to it. Sir, are you worried about something, Mason?
Well, no, but if this kid was watching people, it seems like turning off the power was mainly to do something about that, don't you think?
Ah, yes. They might have known.
That does seem likely. But then, did anyone other than, you know, Bodhi know about him?
So anyone here who didn't know about this kid probably isn't the murderer then.
We should ask his wife.
The kid's got a wife?
Bodhi's wife!
Oh, okay.
It is possible that Bodhi may. It is possible that Bodhi may have been the one that attempted to do this. Perhaps Bodhi wanted to take the life of the woman or of somebody else in the lodge and was injured in the attack, wandered out into the snow because the person they tried to attack might have retaliated and overpowered them.
You hear a snort coming from someone as you say this. You look around and you see that the officer kind of like looked away as you said Mr. Bodhi attacking this woman.
Mandy, what do you know?
What do you know?
Well, sorry, I thought it was common knowledge.
What?
She motions to the new dead body. Mr. Bodhi and this woman, well, let's just say that he was definitely stabbing her.
Oh, they were fucking! I knew it! It's totally Mrs. Bodhi.
So then.
Yeah, dude.
But would Mrs. Bodhi have known about the monitoring? Paul, do you think that Mrs. Bodhi knew?
No, she didn't know.
She fucking knew. She was married to Mr. Bodhi. Like,
That doesn't
fucking-
mean
To my knowledge, she didn't know. I'm
That
pretty
doesn't
sure
mean
she
that they
wouldn't
would
have.
share all information.
I'm pretty sure if she would have known, then she wouldn't. He kind of trails off.
It was her. I don't give a shit. It was her.
So
They have a
maybe-
strained relationship. I doubt that Mr. Bodhi would have given her any information for her convenience alone.
So maybe Bodhi and Clarissa were hooking up in her room. The killer came in, killed Clarissa, wounded Bodhi. He ran out into the snow. Killer followed him and finished him up.
That seems like the most likely thing, given what we know.
Yeah.
But then we need to know who it was.
Yes.
What if, like, it was Mrs. Bodhi and she, like, saw the camera or whatever, and that's when she, like, freaked out and decided she needed to, like, cut the power?
I don't know about you, but I haven't, I mean, I knew about them beforehand, of course, because I'm part of the Ski Federation. But despite knowing that there would be cameras, I was unaware of the actual locations until they were actually pointed out to me. Can you say that you saw the cameras?
For all of this, you would know that he's full of shit.
Yeah, that's true.
So basically, it's like, Jesus Christ, we're trying to keep the kid on the up and up. Come on.
No, fucking. No, the kid did it.
The kid beat the shit out of my shoulder. Send him away.
Fuck him. I hate this kid.
Hold the phone. Wait a minute.
Here, do you need my phone? Who are you calling?
We don't have any signal right now.
I look over towards Chad.
Yeah, dude.
Another competitor within the competition. Oh wait, no, you were snowboarding.
Yeah.
I climactically sit down. Never mind.
Did you notice what I'm holding?
Just deflates instantly.
Oh.
Oh, never mind.
Yes.
Wait a minute, Chad. Never mind.
Yeah, dude.
It takes like one glance at Chad to be like, yeah, no, he's not a murderer.
Well,
You know you were snowboarding. Never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
are you not in tight with Mr. Bodhi, though?
Yeah, dude.
What's
Baby,
your
you gotta
perspective
be-
on all of this, then?
He's probably. I don't really know. It all just seems super weird. Cause like, normally the wife does it, but like,
Stacy's nodding.
with like his wound, you gotta either be like really strong to do something like that, or have like a forklift.
A
Forklift.
He's right. Are there any forklifts anywhere?
From what you understand, there's no forklifts here.
As far as motives go, Mrs. Bodie does.
Forklift.
Oh wait, what are you saying, Ben?
As far as motives go, Mrs. Bodie does have the clearest one. However, are you trying to say that you, Chad, also did not have a motive?
You hear a ch coming from the doorway.
What?
The butler is standing in the doorway. You see that he is pushing a tray into this area. You see the tray is laden with pancakes.
Oh my god, thank God.
As he does this, he kind of like takes off his white gloves and just goes and sits down. I see you're on here talking about motives, huh?
Cha, dude. Thanks for your help, bro.
You're only being nice because he has
Pancakes for
Perspective on that.
everyone.
I was nice to him before. I like him, okay? God.
Well, everyone in this room has a motive to kill Mr. Bodie.
What? What?
What?
He sits down, looks into the empty bowl of popcorn, just takes out like a tiny little salt kernel and sucks on it for a second.
Oh God.
Ew.
He puts it back in and then just looks back over to you guys.
He's
He
the
then
killer
just
fucker.
starts looking at you all. He looks over to Chad and Stacy. You were hanging out with them, were you not?
Dude,
He had some dope shit.
We just bought stuff from him, okay? He was a nice guy.
Yeah, you bought stuff from him. You had some stuff that he provided for you. And you're right. There's never been any bad deals going on between druggies, eh?
How dare you? The butler always does it. You
He
can't
looks
talk
over
to
to
me
Ben.
that way.
He looks over to Ben, and you, the world's luckiest man.
Oh shit.
Just before the competition, something usually happens to some of your competitors, don't they?
I assure you, it is pure coincidence.
He looks down at the wife. We of course already know a motive from this one. Their relationship wasn't the greatest even whenever they were alive. He's also going around with another woman and treating her like trash. Pretty clear and cut there. Looks over to the officer. And you, well, how do you know so much about their private life, officer? Seems to me like you and them might have been a little bit closer than anyone else here knows.
He was also fucking Mandy.
And what are you saying? Let's just say someone with a lot of money, a lot of dirty money, hooking up with an older woman who also seemed to have a lot of money. They might be into some pretty kinky stuff, don't you think? Isn't half your wardrobe missing?
Holy shit.
And how would you know that? He just shrugs.
Oh my God.
He looks over, and the kid. I know what you're trying to do for him. Looks over at Ben.
Oh.
But he was directly in the pocket of Mr. Bodie. This kid would do just about anything for that guy for the money he had. He has his own motives, I'm guessing. Never seen him even utter a peep the entire weekend. Almost as if it was all planned before the storm. And finally, looks over at Mason. Our little secluded sick man here. There was some pretty interesting pretty interesting conversation you had with Mr. Bodie the other night. I'm pretty sure that most of us would have heard it if they were listening. Looks over to Chad and Stacy. Well, if they weren't going into their own little rowdiness.
Yeah, dude.
These walls are thin. You don't even need surveillance equipment to hear. If you're trying to, do you, kid? Mason looks up. It was just an argument. I had nothing to do with anything. I've been sick all day. I haven't even left my room.
And what did you argue about?
I've been really sick the past couple of days, and I roomed right next to him. It was always leaking into my room, the smell. It was not doing a lot for my condition.
I see.
And
Of
what
course,
is
all
your
of this said, and while I
condition?
cannot deny that everybody has at least a little bit of dirt on them, it is not as if you are squeaky clean. This is to the butler.
Wait a minute. He didn't say anything about Ruth's motive.
I know.
Ruth,
I'm kind of
what is your
offended by
motive?
that.
He looks over at Ruth, and as he does, he just kind of shrugs. I mean, the only person that girl has been looking at the entire weekend is you.
Ruth is the only one not
person.
suspected.
Ruth leaps out a closed window.
Well, Etkin.
Sprints over to the horizon.
Etkin.
He looks back at you.
It is well known, Etkin, among those of us that were paying attention, that you also did not care for Bodhi or his mistress. They bossed you around quite frequently, and demanded that that you wait on them head and foot.
So what? Just about half of you were doing that.
Well, it's your job, dude.
However,
Chad.
well, that
Nice about it, though.
A, offended, B, that doesn't mean that you're not a suspect still.
You're right. I did hate him. He just kind of leans back and smiles at you. Guess that little cosplay outfit you got from the girl isn't just for show, huh?
He's right. You're totally working it.
Thank you.
Chad, dude.
I will store that compliment away and appreciate it when I know you're not the killer.
Bitch.
Like, we were going at it last night. Couldn't have been us.
Oh my God.
And how long did that take, Mr. Rad Chad?
Oh, no.
See, Ruth knows what's up.
What'd Ruth say?
Can confirm.
Oh, no.
He just looks over at Chad. And how long did that take, Mr. Rad Chad? 30 seconds this time?
Yeah, like 15 minutes. I was super proud of him.
Bummer, dude.
15 minutes and 12 seconds.
He showed me a good time.
15 minutes and 12 seconds.
Bummer.
Oh, well.
I was thinking the joke of going at it all night long, but goddamn.
Despite everybody's motive, we still come back to the ever-present problem of that the power was cut deliberately. It seems like this was done to thwart the monitoring equipment, so only someone that knew about it and considered it a problem would have done it.
God, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think that Paul would have cut his own monitoring equipment if other people weren't aware of it.
It happened
I
in the
don't
middle
think
of a
some-
ranked game.
What?
I mean, I was
I believe-
watching something. I was watching the monitors.
Additionally, I do not believe that Mr. Bodie himself would have cut the power if... Actually, wait. If he set it up to spy on me, but then decided to commit a murder, he would know about it, and he would have had to cut it to make sure that he wasn't seen. Which means Mr. Bodie is also a suspect in his own murder.
Or at least in the murder of this other woman.
Yes. But then that means if Mr. Bodie was involved in her murder,
What
and
if
she
they
was
both
successfully
just
killed.
what if they both just killed each other?
Yeah, they might have.
The placement of the body seems unlikely, especially since we know that one was injured, possibly, went outside, died out there when another followed them, then the other came back in. If the one that came back in would have had to have been his mistress, and she would not have returned to her room in such a state and died there.
True. And if the person who gave him the wound that killed him was Clarissa, he wouldn't have had to run out into the snow to get away from her. She would have already been dead.
Help! She's crazy!
You're right.
So then, and somebody
Sorry, if it wasn't for that damn storm last night, I probably could have seen more.
I mean,
That's okay.
I don't think we should rule Ben out. He probably knows that the power being cut would be an obvious way to rule him out. He could have cut it to make it seem like he wasn't the killer.
And he is one of the only ones.
Since
that
I've been
knew
outed,
about
I'd
the
like to
camera.
point out that I actually did not know about the cameras.
You're lying, and you know who lies,
This
murderer.
was revealed a minute ago. Come on.
Don't
lying,
worry,
he's
bro.
lying.
I believe ya.
I was
Also,
trying to protect the
the
kid's
opposite-
integrity.
the officer
He's
speaks
lying.
up.
He did it.
Also, the wound on the back of Mr. Bodie could only have been made, like Chad said, by somebody strong, and the two strongest people in this lodge, I think. She motions over to Ben and Chad.
Shaw, dude.
Indeed.
Well, Chad was with me, and Ben's a liar, so I think we all know that means he's a murderer.
Nah, dude.
However, I think you had more of a motive than you're letting on, Chad.
Bruh.
Because I know that Mr. Bodie still had this, and I whip out the cube of substance.
Bruh.
He whips out the cube of illegal substances!
Perhaps you killed him to obtain this, but in attempting to do so, his mistress got caught up in it.
But like, even if I did it, I
Like,
would've
Chad, that
taken
was some really good
anyway.
shit, though.
It was really good shit, but if I did the thing, I would have had the drugs. I wouldn't have left them.
Unless you expected them to be on his person and couldn't or didn't think to look in his room.
But like, what?
That's right. What indeed?
Chad.exe is failing.
You've been suspiciously quiet, trying not to cast blame in any particular direction. It's possible that you're trying to lay low and not instigate any actions, not raise any suspicions until help comes for us. And then, perhaps you would count on the murder sites being horribly defiled.
Which they are, both of them, by the way.
I'm not directly accusing you, Chad. But if it were to come down to you and me, my money would be on you.
Bro,
Since I know I'm not.
I believe in you.
And what about
And I just
Etkin?
wanted pancakes.
What about Etkin? What's his strength score?
Yeah, Edkin, how strong are you?
I'm about as strong. I'm about as strong as my line of as the line of butlers and my 3 fathers. So I have like 3 strength.
Oh shit.
That
It's
is
all right, I
7
guess.
more strength than I have.
Of course. We're ruling out a possibility. It may not have been just one person among us.
Dun dun dun.
What
Could
are you
have been
saying?
all of us.
Oh my god, Ruth, shut up!
What if it was all of us?
Wait. We're all not in some kind of murder cult, are we? And we're
I'm
not trying to
afraid-
lie about this, right?
Well, in any case, I'm afraid I'm at my wits' end regarding clues. Does anybody else think they might have something?
Everyone kind of looks to each other.
I've just
Paul
been in the
turns
kitchen.
his laptop towards all of you, and he shows you the only scene that he has that happened before the lights went out. As you guys see, Clarissa is inside of her room, seemingly changing at the moment of the lights going out, and that's whenever his feed cuts off.
Is she by herself?
She was seemingly by herself in that thing. So when the lights went out, Clarissa was alive.
Does he have any footage of other rooms right before the lights went out?
Do you want to ask him if he has any footage?
Can you verify where? Can you verify where as many people as you can were in the building when just before the lights cut out? Those that you can't find, we could.
I'd rather not.
What?
Bruh.
He's just like, I'd rather not.
Bruh.
Oh.
None of us here have anything to hide, so you can just show up.
Yeah, dude.
Listen, I know around that time I was probably flexing shirtless in front of a mirror. I'm not embarrassed about it. We all do it.
Well, he does end up showing Ben's room first, since Ben seems to be the one asking about it. However, there is nobody in Ben's room whenever he shows the footage.
Where was
Oh my
I?
God. What were you doing?
I don't know,
Where
man.
was I?
I don't know, man. Maybe I told you before this. Maybe that's. Or maybe I didn't. Who knows?
Okay,
Oh
but
my
could you
God.
send me a message actually telling me where I was, just in case? Maybe you did and I'm the killer. Woo! Could you remind me?
Do that.
This is a pretty good cover you're putting up.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Yeah, dude.
scroll back through.
Tico, you should do that. You should send each of us a message and say what we were doing right before the lights went out.
Yes, do that.
Yes, do that.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Oh, fair.
But
Speaking of which, I'll be right back.
I feel like he just sent him a message saying pooping.
Or drinking it.
Or jerking it, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
dude.
like to remind everybody in the audience and in the game that everyone has been told beforehand something, or maybe they weren't told anything. I don't know, but people have been told before the first game, and I might have talked to somebody new this game. So who knows? Maybe, or I talked to everybody in the first game, or I didn't talk to anybody either game. Who knows? All I'm saying is that we'll see. Maybe people don't even know they're the killer.
Bruh.
Although that's probably really unfair of me, so
Yeah.
they would know.
Might be some other rooms, bruh.
Something.
So who in total can we account for?
As he shows you all the rooms that he had bugged, you see that he had Ben's room bugged, but Ben was not there at least 10, like 15 to 20 minutes before the lights went out. There was no Ben. He then shows you Mr. Bodie's room. Mr. Bodie's room was also empty around that time. He shows you Bodie's wife's room. And Bodie's wife was in her room as the time the lights went out.
Yeah.
The only other room that he seemed to have bugged, other than Clarissa's, of course, was Mason's.
Was Mason present?
And he was not in his room.
Okay, so we know that Miss Bodie was, she at least didn't, it doesn't seem like she's the one that cut the power. It might have been Mr. Bodie, it might have been me, it might have been Mason. And we can't account
Or
either
anyone
way
else
for
who
everybody
wasn't being monitored.
Yeah, allegedly, Ruth, Stacy, and Chad all back up each other's alibis.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, also, Mason, I thought you said you never left your room.
Yeah, he totally did say that. You're a butt fucking liar. We all know what liars do.
Indeed.
Kill people.
Kill people.
Well, no, that's not necessarily a quality of. Sometimes people have good reasons to lie.
No, he's about
However, Mason, yes, come clean.
You came to me this morning. He looks over at Ben. And you told me somebody had been murdered.
Yes.
I just wanted people to not accuse me.
Well, we're accusing you.
Hold on, though. Is this footage not from before the murder?
From what he understands, he had said that he had heard people going off into the woods. He could not figure out who they were. This was definitely before Clarissa was murdered. I just wanted people to think I've been in my room the past couple of days.
Oh, that's why you said that. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you meant that's why you left the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why he
okay,
said he hadn't left.
That holds together. That
I can understand that. However, what were you doing outside your room?
I really was sick. I went downstairs to make some soup.
It all comes back to the soup.
It all comes back to soup.
Of course.
All right, let's not dip too far back into the stupid.
Let's not dip into the soup unless we have crackers.
Sick.
Or
Stupid
maybe he
soup.
got sick with what appears to be a cold by going out into the snow and murdering somebody.
Can we back up that we've like kind of known that this guy's been sick for a while based off of our interactions in the lodge?
If he was sick, he was hiding it pretty well.
Can we like see footage?
He wasn't again, like he wasn't the most like he wasn't the most out there of guests. Like I had said for you guys, anytime a new character came up, you guys could ask if you had any interactions or anything with him. Nobody asked whenever he came up. But you guys do know that if he was sick, he didn't let anyone know. And that's kind of an asshole thing to do. He could have got everybody sick.
Paul, why is it that you had his room bugged again?
Mr. Bodie made sure to have me do it right after everything went down with the storm.
Did
he was
look sick,
he was one that I
before the
bugged.
storm?
He was one that I bugged after the storm started.
Oh shit.
And why did he make you do that?
He never told me anything. He just paid me.
That's fair.
I'm pretty sure he was wanting me to bug. He motions to Ben because, well, I'm pretty sure he was worried about him in the competition. Since everybody usually had an accident beforehand, I think he wanted something to stop that. He motions over toward Mrs. Bodie. I don't really understand why he wanted me to bug his wife's room or Miss Clarissa's room, but
a jealous type, perhaps.
I don't know. I just wish that he didn't.
Maybe
And
he wanted to
as
make
far
sure
as his
no one
own
was
room, I'm
nailing
pretty
his
sure he
wife.
wanted to make sure
Maybe
nobody
he's a
took any of
pervert
his
and he wanted
stuff.
to watch it back.
And as far as his own room, I'm pretty sure he just wanted me to make sure nobody went in. I only
What
have.
do you think the murder? Sorry. Go ahead.
I only have one other camera planted, but it's not in the lodge.
It's in the other building.
He nods. There's a
Did
lot
that
of
catch
equipment and
anything?
things there for the competition. I had
Perhaps we
I had it
should.
bugged beforehand so that you wouldn't mess with any of his ski equipment.
Wait a minute. Chad,
Cha, dude.
aren't you missing your board?
Dun dun
Cha,
dun!
dude. I was about to ask because everyone's here. I was waiting for Grunk to jump in.
Where did you
Have any
keep
of
it?
y'all? It was in my room, and then it wasn't in my room. Have any of y'all seen it? Since like
Have we?
everyone's out here, I could ask the group.
You haven't needed your board since the storm started, so you just kind of put it in there in the first day and didn't really worry too much about it until this morning when you were hiding stuff. You didn't really know where it went. As far as anything,
Sure.
it could have been taken at any point. Asking people around here if they've seen it, they're just like, we didn't even fucking know you had a board. Why wasn't it in the building with all the equipment?
It's my board, bruh.
I assure you, I would never take such a respected prized object from a man.
Thank you, bruh.
It had a picture of Daffy Duck on it.
Beautiful.
Oh my god.
However, did you see anything strange in your monitor feeds for the equipment shed?
Well, it's been really fuzzy since the storm started. I haven't really looked at it all that much. I could bring it up if you want me to.
Please do.
As he goes to bring it up, he kind of just like gets in front of it from you guys' perspective. You can still see it. He kind of brings up another camera and then like immediately like clicks out of it. Would the four of you like to roll me for your focuses?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's.
So I got a
Right?
not nat, but I got a 1.
Oh, come on, man. How
Oh,
do I
nice.
roll that low?
Stacy!
What up?
Stacy, you saw this like other camera kind of get brought up and immediately taken down. It looked like a shower.
Oh.
Either way.
Okay.
Gee, I wonder whose shower it was.
As
It was mine.
as it was kind of moved away from that, he immediately brings up what appears to be a large, fuzzy, weird camera feed. It still seems to be going, and it seems to be moving back and forth in a large building.
Okay.
As it's moving back and forth, you guys can look and just barely see the doors are open.
Oh.
Seemingly just open in the flurries.
I believe this is cause to investigate.
Probably.
What else do we see on the screen besides the open door?
Would you guys like to roll me for another focus?
Yeah, dude.
I'll give you guys this. You can either roll me for your focuses or your wits. You will get
Yo.
different answers depending on which one you use, so tell me which one you're doing.
Ooh, those ones were better.
I would like for first off, Rad Chad, which one are you using?
I'm obviously using focus.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Oh, come on. What the fuck?
Okay, so
Now
Stacy,
what
what are
then?
you rolling?
I
Roll my
rolled
wits.
that
All right,
Roll
Stacy,
it,
roll
roll
me
it.
for your wits.
Bam. Ah.
So Ben, what are you rolling?
I rolled focus and I got a 14.
Okay, I'll get back to you then. And what are you rolling, Ruth?
Ruth rolled wits and got a 20.
Okay.
Boy.
I'm glad you guys decided to roll different things for the two people who actually got it.
Yes.
God damn it.
Stacy and Chad just look there just like, is this board there? You're just looking around
there.
scouring
I'm
all the
gonna
equipment
grab
for
some
you guys are just scouring the equipment
Nobody's-
looking for a Daffy Duck.
Jesus.
I mean, I wanted it to be a tiger, but okay, it's Daffy Duck now.
It's Tony the Tiger. No. It can be a
the
tiger, dude.
I'll compromise.
It can be a tiger, don't worry. But as the two of you look at it, Ben and Ruth, Ben, you look around, trying to see if you can find anything. And again, the doors being open is very strange. You're not sure how long it's been open. You look at the ground near the doors. You notice a very large pileup of snow, which probably means this was open while the storm was still going on, which means probably maybe even earlier than last night.
Okay.
Other than that, you're looking through this place and you are noticing that the last time you saw this place when you were putting your ski equipment away, there was a lot more stuff in there. And by stuff, I mean you seem to be missing what appears to be a large kind of, what do they call it? Fuck. It's like the thing that it's like the thing that runs on snow. It's a vehicle.
Snowmobile?
It's like a ski mobile, yeah.
Okay.
Snowmobile.
Ski-Doo?
Snowmobile. You see that the large snowmobile is missing.
Oh.
Other than that, that's the stuff you get from actually having been in there. However, the wits roll from Ruth Ruth, as you begin looking through there, trying to see if you can find anything, you're noticing something very interesting.
Oh.
Something moved on the feed.
Something moved. But what is it?
You got the wits to find it. I need you to roll me focus to see if you caught what it was.
Quick, you send inspiration.
No one's gave inspiration. No one gets inspiration. A 12. You're not sure what it was.
Damn it.
But something definitely moved on the feed.
Something moved. I don't know what it was.
Oh God.
So we're looking at the feed right now.
Yes.
We should probably rush out there to see whatever it was.
Oh God.
Is that
But
a
have
live
somebody
feed?
keep an eye on the feed just in case whatever it is darts.
Or it kills us.
Cha, dude.
All right. Ben is suggesting that some people go out to the other building and see whatever that was that moved. Is there any volunteers in this group?
Cha, dude.
I mean, Ben will go also.
The
Ruth will
bro's
go.
Yeah,
going.
I
I gotta
think
go
we're
with
all
my bro.
going.
Stacy, you're gonna
Okay.
go as well?
I got to go with my bae.
Nah, babe, you gotta stay here. It could be
I'm not
dangerous.
staying here myself with a bunch of bodies. I'm fucking going.
But like, you got.
I
Ruth.
want to stay with you. The only person I know
Ruth's
that's not a
also
murderer,
going.
even though you might be.
Exactly. Ruth's also going, baby. I'm going. God.
Baby, if you are a murderer, you won't murder me.
Yeah, right.
You won't murder her.
The
Cha,
boyfriend
dude.
who's the murderer never kills the girlfriend. Come on.
Cha.
Except whenever they do.
Obviously,
Which is often.
Which is fucking.
I'm not a murderer, so everything's fine.
Sounds like a murderer.
He's just like,
Damn, got the other
She
bodies.
suspects nothing.
But as you guys say this, you see that Paul just kind of raises his hand like, I'll watch the feed like I always do.
Cha, dude.
You do that, potential murderer.
That's what I'm saying.
Nah.
Officer Mandy just kind of looks over at the bodies and at Mrs. Bodie. I'll stay here with the bodies. I'll stay here with the
Dog.
bodies. Oh, and Clarissa. Ha, get it? Because two of them are okay. The butler stands up and puts his gloves back on. And I'll be in my room.
You stay there, potential murderer. God.
I've just been up all morning and I would like a rest in my own room. He goes to walk out.
Oh no.
All right, we should get going. We should go find out what this thing is.
There we
Cha,
go.
dude.
Ben, would you like to ask any of the other NPCs here to go with you? You could have the officer go with you. You could have the butler go with you to stop him from seeing the room. You could have Mason go with you to get him out of the fucking house. Or you can be like, hey, Paul, get off the thing and come with us. Or you can drag Mrs. Bodie with you.
Oh my god.
Etkin,
He looks back. Hmm?
you know this place better than anyone. Your knowledge of the storehouse could be more useful than anyone else coming. You should come with us.
Roll
I
me
think.
for luck.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I believe in you, bro.
Got this.
23.
He
Cha,
looks
dude.
to you. He gives a sigh. All right. I guess I can go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Murderer.
Cha.
But somebody make
Let us do it.
somebody make coffee while we're gone.
Who should make coffee? Who are we gonna make coffee?
As you just see Mason stand up with his blanket, he kind of just walks forward. It unplugs as he walks away from the socket like, I'll go make coffee.
Damn right.
I'll go plug myself into the kitchen.
Cha, dude.
While the 5 of you leave the main lodge for the first time in days, heading over to the other building, several things could be got there. First off, you guys do know that, again, food supplies are low-ish. You're not sure how many days left you're going to be staying up here before somebody gets their asses up here and rescues you. Or if the storm is even over, you're not sure. So bringing back some food's probably a good idea. You're pretty sure that this storage thing could have several other things with it, perhaps even something to defend yourself against monsters. And by monsters, I mean murderers, of course. It's of course, don't worry about it.
Murderous monsters.
Monstrous murderers.
Monsterderers.
Or a
And
bunch of stoner murderers.
you
never know.
also can maybe find tracks from that snowmobile or even whatever that thing that moved on there was. As you guys start to make your way away from the lodge, I think this is where we're going to end things off for this time.
That's fair.
We're all
Cha, dude.
still alive.
We're all still alive, though.
Well, we found another dead body.
The next game that happens will potentially be the final game.
Oh,
Now, I
shit.
know that things haven't gone very quickly, but that's going to change next game.
Oh, shit.
So I hope you guys are ready for that. We also,
Cha,
depending
dude.
on how you guys feel during that game, we may go a little late with that game just to get it done with before we end for the month.
Oh.
So, with all that being said, again, only if you guys feel that we can or we can do that. As all this was said, I hope that everybody enjoyed themselves. I enjoyed myself. Questions, comments, complaints, or wisecracks down in the comments below or on the Discord link below. And you guys, how do you feel about taking your first damages today?
Dude.
It was good. We're gonna keep that,
Feel
right?
good.
Proud.
Yes, you are keeping that damage.
Okay. No, I really enjoyed the conversation bit of that. The actual talking about clues and such.
Yeah, dude.
Felt very
You guys
grounded.
were able to do. Here's the thing. Like, I'm actually very happy with you guys. You were able to, even though you were being silly, you all remembered stuff that was said, and that was really cool. You guys treated this like a puzzle to be solved, and I'm happy for that.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys got
Admittedly-
way smarter.
admitted-
Yo,
No.
I know, right?
Wait, what? What happened?
I feel like your characters got way smarter out of nowhere.
It's true.
I don't know. I think Chad doesn't feel smarter.
No.
Chad's like, maybe I'm a murderer.
Maybe.
I will say, out of everyone here, the most suspicious one is Ruth.
It's true.
The only
I mean,
person
she happens to find an axe, guys. She
But,
happens to be like, I'll go down to the basement and I'll come back up with an axe.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad last game that we sort of joked a bit much about everything.
No,
so I really
you guys
wanted-
did that this game too. Everything was fine.
This game though, I really wanted to make an effort to actually be like, okay, there's a mystery.
It was really cool. I really enjoyed the mystery of today's game. It was really awesome. Itsuki says, I love how Logan mentioned how great he looked in a trench coat exactly when I posted the pic in the Discord.
Someone fucking killed me. I'm too stupid to live.
There's the guy who was also fucking like leading the delegations downstairs.
Cha,
Why
dude.
am I in this position?
I don't know.
Just lucky, I guess.
I do feel like I'm betraying my wit score a little bit, but I think for the sake of like narrative.
Well, like every time you have to use your wits, though, you completely fail, so I think it's fine.
Maybe I'll just attribute it to that, like my ability to piece things together is just. Luckily, I keep spontaneously thinking of the right thing.
And again, your wit score isn't directly correlated to how smart you are.
Yeah.
Like, just because you guys have -4 in wits doesn't mean most of you probably passed high school.
Nice.
Maybe not Chad.
Yeah.
Nah, dude. I
That might
passed.
not have been because of his wits. That might have just been because he was stoned half the time.
Nah, dude. I focused real hard.
What are you talking about?
It's
Nice.
so hard, man.
The weed helps you focus, man. The past.
That being
Besides-
said, I will say that if Chad and Stacy would tell you guys about the hidden compartments behind the televisions, you guys might find a little bit more clues.
I mean,
Well,
we could tell them on the way there.
Oh, heck yeah, you can. But
Do that, babe.
Do it.
But with all that being said, Chad got expelled for weed.
Nah, dude.
Jesus.
I never took my weed to school. I always got rid of it before I went by smoking it.
My God.
Nah, dude.
They'll never find it if it's in the air.
This is falling.
I just love how the butler comes in. All of you have motive, except for Ruth. Ruth's mostly just been looking at Stacy.
It's true. It's true.
I hate.
Ruth jumps
hate
out
my
a
motive.
closed window.
It's the most like. My motive is the most goddamn like. Oh, and you expect us to just believe that all of the people you've ever competed against have fallen ill or died?
Yes, I expect you to believe that. 'Cause that's what it is.
Oh,
Ah, shit.
it does seem a tad unbelievable.
But it's the truth.
So much as you say it's the truth, you could just be a dirty murderer.
I have a 10 in luck.
He's right.
You could just be an extremely lucky dirty murderer.
He's right.
You did point out.
He's
Oh
right.
my God, he's right.
You did point out that Chad and
I mean, come on, guys.
Ruth's
Right after
motive
seeing
is
something
pretty
potential.
damning, too.
Come on, guys. Right after seeing something potentially dangerous on the screen, he immediately says, "Let's go toward it." He wants all of
I
you
am
guys
starting-
dead.
I am
It's
starting to
true.
think I might have a split personality.
Izuki says Ruth's character is supposed to be annoying, but she's just a cinnamon roll.
No.
Benny's a cinnamon roll all might.
So, regular All Might?
Well, yeah, I hope you guys have fun for today's game, and I hope everybody watching had fun. We passed by the donation goal for the entire month, and there's still like quite a bit left in the month, so that's gonna be nice.
Hell yeah, boy.
Sweet.
Again, I'll probably just put that into getting something else for the channel, not illegal substances, any cube form or otherwise. Potentially, it'll help me get something to actually use with said Elgato game capture device, so that'd be nice. But I hope you guys enjoyed this as we enjoy ourselves. And like always, guys, do you have anything else to say before we end things off?
That we love you.
And that Carrie's a liar.
How dare you call me a murderer?
You're a liar, and you know what liars do.
Murder.
Murder people.
That is exclusively what
That's
they do.
what they do.
All right.
What?
You gonna say something, remember?
What's up? You're cutting out. Oh God.
Blue?
No, I'm here. Can you guys not hear me?
Yee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
I thought Emerald said something, so I stopped.
Ooey.
I called you.
Oh.
All right. Well, like always, guys, until next week, later days.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.
Yep. We did
Yep.
it. Sure did do
Thing.
it. We did the thing.
Did it.
We did it.
Okay, I'll
We
actually
moved
end
the
now.
plot along a little bit.
A little
And